Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Issei was 02 Experiment. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Narrator. In a church you could only hear a lot of technology. In the basement was where those sounds came from. Inside there were only scientists next to a capsule with a strange red liquid. Many scientists wrote down in notebooks what the process was. In the capsule only one thing was red, Issei, code name 02, although among all the scientists there was one who saw this with extreme sadness, seeing the being inside the capsule, a boy who seemed to be 16 years old with black hair with dark eyes. Purple, who opened his eyes seeing a blue-haired girl with blue eyes, about 25 years old, looking at the experiment with sadness on her face. Scientist, don't worry, one day I will get you out of here, but just wait please Issei. The scientist had to leave since other scientists called her even though they felt that the place felt too cold, seeing that the scientist was the cause since she gave off cold air. Scientist, your honor is death, we will ask you to calm down if you don't end up freezing Experiment 0. Isteth had reconsidered that and it was true. Although what none of the scientists knew was that Isteth put part of her BLD into Issei, making him immune to the cold and also the power to create ice. The scientists continued fighting with Isteth even though they stopped. That a cold sword was on the neck of one of them. This was a young brown man of about 23 years old with a red eye and his pupil in the shape of an inverted X with a serious look on his face. Tatsumi honey, please don't get upset, it's not worth it. The boy identified as Tatsumi was Isteth's husband, being married for 3 years after a 2-year courtship. Although they went through many things that did not allow them to be together, they were able to be together after resolving their problems and asked to be together. Isteth and Tatsumi were never able to have children since Isteth's thread power did not allow it. Although she had a fondness for Issei, it may be because she put her and her husband's BLD in him, but she loved him as a son. Although all scientists only saw it as a potential weapon. Something that bothered Isteth and Tatsumi a lot, who were just waiting for the moment to be able to get Issei out of there, only now was not the time since his body is not yet complete. Not only was it a created life, but it also had robotic parts and almost zero emotions, although Isteth would fix that later. From here 2 months would pass where Issei's body was complete and improved in some things by Isteth. The reason why Isteth is intelligent or knows about science is that after what happened in the capital, both Tatsumi and Isteth had left there to start a new life away from everything that happened, where the two had a career, Tatsumi in the police being the only one who used a sword and Isteth in science. In the span of 2 months Isteth and Tatsumi devised how to get Issei out of there. First they thought about freezing the whole place, but Tatsumi would also freeze and Isteth did not want to be a single mother. Another was that Tatsumi will use his weapon to kill everyone. But they would end up calling more and it would be better to avoid that. Although each one had a plan, the problem was that it always failed in the end, although they ended up with a sound in their head where a voice could be heard, although they did not know where it came from. Voice, they have to cover themselves, fill the whole place with gas. Isteth in a quick movement covered herself with Tatsumi in an ice dome, where after that an explosion was generated that destroyed the entire place and killed many kineticists from there, although Isteth only had one concern and that was Issei was fine seeing its capsule intact. Isteth and Tatsumi came out of the ice dome seeing how something was moving on the ground like a metallic liquid, where a girl about 17 years older than Issei came out. Only Isteth was amazed since that girl had blue hair. But it was even paler blue like her eyes. Tatsumi could tell she was an Isteth when she was young. Isteth, who are you and why do you look like me? Girl, calm down, I'm not bad, I just want to get my brother out of there, mum. Isteth and Tatsumi were wired since that girl had said that Isteth is her mother, although there was a relationship between Isteth and her in addition to the fact that that girl had parts of her hair that were brown like Tatsumi's. Tatsumi, yes. Not only did those BSRDS create Issei, but they also created you using Isteth's DNA, but you also have mechanical parts like Issei, but you can change your body at will. Girl, right dad. Well, we don't have time, we have to get my brother out of their hacking system activated. Opening Issei capsule code name 0. Issei's capsule would begin to open by throwing the red liquid that covered it onto the ground. but being helped by Isdeth and Tatsumi, Issei would open her eyes seeing for the first time Isdeth and Tatsumi who were smiling at her. Issei would get up from the ground, seeing everything around him, scanning every part of it. From what Isdeth saw, his emotion circuits were somewhat damaged but he repaired it later. Issei continued seeing every part until he saw something that he felt called him, seeing a container with a black chain with reddish touches that shone when Issei approached. Issei, weaponry found. Codename Excalibur Morgan. The chain moved to Issei's right arm. The chain glowed red, generating clothing for Issei who was naked like the girl who also glowed, revealing clothing almost similar to Issei's. Issei was given dark clothing, black briefs with ribbons on the sides, black Igueo tennis shoes with white edges, a black sweatshirt with a dark gray shirt underneath and binoculars around her neck. The sword he has is what it would look like from Excalibur Morgan. Girl, okay, it seems that my little brother still remembers his old clothes that he used to wear. Well, I think I should wear them anyway, otherwise my name is Amami. The girl identified as Amami wore clothing similar to Issei's, except that it was only the slightly larger jacket below. She wore black shorts and a white sleeveless blouse under the sweater, white stockings that reached her thighs, and some black boots. Amami, well, now that we're done with this, how about we go? My sensors detect people from the church near here. Tatsumi took out his sword, stabbing it into the ground where the sword on the side separated, producing small rays. Tatsumi, I curse you. Tatsumi's astra appeared as a gray dragon with 3 red eyes on each side with its arms outstretched, and on Tatsumi a red aura emerged where his entire body was wrapped in gray armor with an equal gray cape. With a spear on his back he grabbed Isdeth, Issei and Amami running at maximum speed from there and away from the now almost destroyed church. All the scientists or what remained along with some priests believed that the experiment was lost or destroyed next to the church. Death of Isdeth and Tatsumi. A month passed since what happened. The case of the explosion was in the news, only that they did not say anything about Isdeth and Tatsumi, which benefited both of them by not knowing what to do, which left them the opportunity to start again. They reached an agreement. City called Kuo where they got one each by enrolling Issei and Amami in the Kuo Academy. I really don't know why I was created. I don't remember anything. I only know that I'm going to Kuo Academy with my older sister Amami. My parents say it's pretend to be a human, but I'm not. I'm just a humanoid machine, although I have human parts. No. I consider myself one. I don't even consider myself a sister, but our parents want us to live like humans so well. Mom, hey little brother, what's going on? You're lost in your thoughts, all of you idiots. Issei, of course not, you know I'm not like that. Amami, I know I just want to bother you. Don't take it seriously little brother, and it's better to speed up the pace because we will be late. I really don't know what fun Amamine sees in going to school. I have enough knowledge that I need everything is registered in my head, but if I don't go I'll have problems with mom and I don't want to be frozen all day. Narrator. Issei and Amami had arrived at the academy on time as they used their abilities to increase their speed. Upon entering, all the girls there saw Issei with a blush just like the boys saw Amami. Girl, Kaya how cute he is. Girl, if he is very cute he will have a girlfriend. Girl, she looks very innocent and rapeable. It was all that Issei's girls said since although Issei had the knowledge of many things he was very inexperienced in those things. Although in the distance he could still see a red-haired girl with the uniform of the Asmia girls along with another tied black-haired girl in a ponytail with the same academy girl uniform that Issei and Amami saw. These were Rias Gremory and Akino Himejima, the one sama of the entire Kuo Academy. Rias, Akino, you feel that the two of them don't seem like. Akino, era. If the 100 of you don't look human, do you think they are fallen or from the church? The black-haired woman saw Issei with a blush on her cheeks, just like Rias, but she hid it, except for Akino, who liked her lips watching Issei, who walked away from there. Akino, era it will be fun to desecrate that boy, he looks very innocent fufu. The two girls would go from there to their classrooms just like Issei and Amami did, arriving at each of their classrooms since they were not in the same class together. Teacher, okay young people, today we have a new student in this academy so be good to him, you can pass now boy. Issei Aria case entering the room caused all the girls to scream because of how cute he was, and the boys cursed Issei because according to them he would not leave any girl for them, although for Issei this was a waste of time. The classes passed normally, except for the raping looks that the girls gave him. Everything happened normally. Arriving at break, Issei quickly left the classroom going to the old building from the academy where he ran into Amami with 2 wins that is death prepared for them. Amami, and tell me how your Issei keys went. Issei, well, ignoring the fact that many girls only saw me, it could be said that I passed my class normally. Amami, sate maybe in this school we won't get bored like I thought hee. Amami, well, it's good that you liked it, although your expressions seem like the usual ones, no brother. Issei did not say anything. It was a problem not being able to express himself, although Isdeth told him not to worry about it since his emotions are only sealed and he needs a catalyst to open his emotions again, which Issei found difficult since no one made him feel anything new that had not been felt before leaving the capsule. Although they didn't know that above them a red-haired girl saw them who saw the 2 brotherhood with curiosity, although more towards Issei. But that boy is very strange. His aura is very different from that of a normal human, although I also feel that he has a weapon from the church, although it seems like a different weapon. I asked Aquino what she will investigate. I can only wait here and see what Aquino got. Aquino, Rias, I already have the documents for the 2 of them. Rias, and what do they say something about them? Aquino, well, the boy's name is Issei, apparently without a last name, and the girl's name is Amami, also without a last name, although it seems that they are brothers. Issei is 16 and Amami is 17 and is older. They live with their parents in Kuo. They moved here 1 month ago. That's all. Rias, well, although that does not mean that they are not suspected of being part of the church, I feel that Issei has power from the church. Kino, Herrera, it seems that Issei-kun and Amami-chan are dangerous, although I also feel that they are not human even though they seem like it. I feel that they are something more. Those words left me thinking how much I would hide those 2, although first I have to talk to them, but that will be after school, when no one is there. Narrator. Both Issei and Amami went back to their respective classrooms. In the middle of classes, Yuto Kiba, known as the Prince of Kuo Academy, would arrive. It should be said that each girl screamed to see him, although Issei was not interested in that. Teacher, excuse young Yuto, what is the reason for your visit? Kiba, if the president would like to talk to Issei-kun right now. The aforementioned only raised his head from his desk seeing a young man with blonde hair with the report from the men of the academy. Issei did not know why that person was calling him, but if you are better than being in a room almost all afternoon, it is better to go. Let's see. Kiba took Issei to the old academy building where he was once with his sister eating. When he entered he would see almost everything dark, only lit by candles, giving a sinister touch to the place. Seeing in a chair to the young redhead that for some reason Issei's reactor felt warm. Rias, it's good that you came, say. Issei, I really don't know why they called me worse. I hope it's important and not a waste of time. Rias, don't worry about that, we won't take up your time, I just want to know something, but let's wait until your sister arrives. Issei just turned back watching Amami enter, hitting him on the head as if scolding a small child. Issei, why are you paying me, Amami? Issei would return the blow by smashing her into the wall, but everyone there saw how the blue-haired girl's body was destroyed. Everyone was scared, but they saw how Amami put her parts together as if it were water. Hey, what's wrong with you, you moron? You know that your blows are strong. You should measure yourself with a lady. Issei, but I don't see a lady here. If it weren't for Rias who stopped them, the club room would have become a sound of war. Once calm, the 2 were in front of Rias who, still not confident, began to speak. Rias, well, as I was going to say, I want to know what you 2 are. You really are not human. Amami, well, we prefer not to say it for now. That is a private matter for my brother and me, and I hope you respect that decision. Rias, I understand, I will not pressure you to tell me. My name is Rias Gremory, I am the heir of the Gremory house and a high-class demon. Both Issei and Amami were surprised. Although Issei hardly showed it, they did not think that there were demons or supernatural beings, although Issei had a small memory that told him this is the weapon to exterminate demons, causing him to get his head torn off. As a sign of pain, causing him to remain silent, helped by Amami. Aquino, who had just entered, saw how Issei fainted. Aquino, what happened? Why did Issei-kun faint? Rias, I don't know Aquino, but I would like to know what happens. Amami, who saw all this, got a little nervous because of Rias's look and had no choice but to tell them. Amami. Oh well, I'll say now that Issei was unconscious. I and he are the weapon known as 02. Rias, you mean that weapon that would be capable of killing any of the supernatural? Amami agreed with what Rias said, although she thought that no one else knew about them or the Zero Project. Amami, I really didn't know what other races knew about us. I thought it was a secret. Well, it doesn't matter. My brother is known as 0 and I am known as 2, and being together we are 02. Aquino, I didn't think that project was real. I thought it had been destroyed in the explanation of that church. Amami told them what happened, how Isdeth and Tatsumi took them out of there and became their parents. Although Issei does not remember anything, he only remembers a few things from 1 month to be precise. Although Amami did not say anything about the Excalibur Morgan project, the weapon that Issei has. It spent more or less 30 minutes where Issei had woken up, although they didn't tell him anything about what Rias, Aquino and Amami talked about. Rias. Well, there is another thing I want to tell you. You want to join the supernatural group. Issei did not know what to say, although he felt that here he would feel again what he felt in his reactor. He accepted it, as did Amami, since she should not leave Issei at any time. Thus the club of the supernatural had 2 new members. Rias. But first they must become members of my entourage if they want to join the club. Issei and Amami accepted. Issei, his pie would be a knight like Kiba. Kiba was happy since he would have a knight companion, and Amami a tower. Although it was strange since Issei and Amami were almost mechanical, but they were still able to become Deminos. And this is how Issei and Amami's new adventures begin in this new world. But that doesn't mean that things will be easy. Many more complicated things will come from today. Abird XD. Well, people, what seemed like the beginning of this story, the truth occurred to me while watching several animes. How did you realize I put the Akame ga kill characters as Isdeth and Tatsumi? I also put Alter Siba's weapon, this being Excalibur Morgan. Cap of the Fallen. In the Supernatural Club room, Issei and Amami are seen in front of Rias, who was giving them contracts to go to the humans and make the Gremory house grow more for the contracts that the humans ask for. Rias. Well guys, you must make the humans make contracts with the Gremory house. Issei. The truth is, I don't know what humans are going to ask for. Don't worry, little brother. I don't think they're that bad. Rias got a little nervous because some human requests were quite painful or silly, although she trusted the 2 brothers to achieve it, although she hoped that no girl would ask something risque from Issei, since as she found out that the 2 brothers are the project that was thought to have been lost 02. Well, I head towards my client, although I still think that this is nonsense, but well, that's what the president said, so here I am in the house of a girl who looks like she's sick, her cheeks are quite red, and she seems tired and she is all sweaty, looks like she exercised. Issei, excuse me for requesting the services of Deminos. Woman. Well, I want some company, and who better company than a cute boy? Well, really, I don't know what this woman has, but they are orders, although I'm not one to follow anyone's orders, but well, the woman just let me into her apartment. It looks nice for a single woman. So, well, what should I do now? Woman. Fufu, don't get anxious. Why don't we go to my room to have a better time? Issei, I think you're confused. I don't offer that type of services. If it's just about that, I'll have to leave. I really don't know if that woman thought she would say that, but she is wrong. This should be told to the president. I don't think I should bother her with things like that, but well, I better come back before Amamine gets upset again. But about 1 hour ago Issei went to do his first order. I hope nothing happened to him, but what he's saying is 0. He was able to take care of himself, although they did ask him for something unexpected. I don't think so, but what if this? I'm back. I have something to tell you, President. Rias, what happened, Issei? Issei, well, my client wanted us to be that, although I told him that that service is not offered when hiring a demon. I was right. Who was the woman who tried to abuse my pretty servant? Why did my pretty servant say that I love all my servants, but Issei is the first one that I say like that? I don't know what's wrong with me anymore. How confusing all this is. Rias, well, you can go home, Issei. Tomorrow we will continue with this. Narrator. Issei agreed to what Rias said and would retire to his house where his sister and his death were waiting for him since Tatsumi had to go out on night raid business. Although Issei still didn't know what that was, a gang or something like that in which SK father is involved. It's good that you arrived, honey. Dinner is ready? Issei, thanks mom. Where is Amami? Isteth, she is on a quiet assignment. She will arrive in 2 days. Although her separation time is 1 week, she should be fine. Issei, it's okay, I just hope he doesn't get into trouble. Isteth would laugh at her son's comment, although Issei won't show it if he loves Amami, but he wouldn't say it in front of her. Issei told his mother what happened with the client who tried that. Cough. Cough. Section something that Isteth didn't like, what that woman tried to do if it weren't for the fact that Issei said he left and Isteth would have frozen the woman. Stiff. The good thing is that nothing else happened. Issei, if it's good, well mom, I'll go to sleep tomorrow. I'll have to continue with the contracts. Istith, rest Issei, but remember not to draw your sword. Issei, if it's not to protect the people I care about, I remember, mom, rest. Issei would go to his room to rest for tomorrow since Rias had something to say to him, but apparently it had to be in private, so it would just be the two of them in the club, which Issei didn't care about but apparently Rias did care. Clubroom/next day. Rias and Issei were seen in the club, but the tense atmosphere of the place was noticeable since Rias seemed a little nervous about telling Issei the truth about what Amami told her. Rias, echola Issei. Issei, something's wrong, President. I notice you're tense. Rias, hey well Issei, what I want to tell you is I don't know how to tell you why you might hate me. Issei, I don't think that what she begs for makes me hate her. Rias, what I want to tell you is that I know what you and your sister are. I know that you are the lost Experiment 02. Issei would open his eyes wide. He thought that no one knew about them since they are considered lost, although Issei does not remember much about why he was created with his sister. Rias, who saw that Issei did not say anything, thought that he had ruined him with him. Amami had told him that Issei doesn't like to talk about that. Rias, Issei. Issei, Amami told you, right? Rias, why yes, she told me when you were unconscious. Issei, well, what does it matter, sooner or later you should have found out. If you were worried about whether I would get angry or upset with you, then no. In fact, I had the idea of telling you worse than Amami gave it to you, well now. But I don't. It bothered him. He didn't get angry with me. I know it was something personal for them, but he had the idea of telling me how stupid I was to think that he would be upset about that, although I think I should tell the rest of my entourage. President, I would like for the moment only you and Akino-san to know. With the rest I will tell you in due time, why I see that Kiba harbors hatred towards something. Rias, that's fine, although with Kiba I think it would be better for him to tell you. Well, I think everything went well, although I would like to know more about him, and about the 02 experiment. I wouldn't like the other factions to find out that 02 is still there. Narrator. Issei would be seen leaving the club and also leaving school to go somewhere to relax a little since without Amami, Issei gets very bored. He would arrive at a park where he would sit on one of the benches there resting, although he doesn't really need it. Only Issei enters a state similar to human sleep, although his sensors are more alert in that state. Issei's sensors detected a presisia in the trees. Looking in all directions, he saw that it was already night, so there would be no people there at this time. This would be perfect to confront whoever was following him. If you're Issei. Voice, wow, I didn't think you would discover me, Issei-kun, or rather 0. Issei would see that a figure of a woman was coming down from the trees in a very revealing outfit with black hair and dark angel wings. Issei, since he had some unblocked files, knew that it was a fallen angel. Issei, life form, fallen angel description, elimination protocol. Issei's eyes turned purple to red. At great speed he would go towards the fallen angel, but he dodged it by going towards the sky, where he would take out a spear of light pointing towards Issei. Voice, you really don't remember me or Issei? Issei, negative life form not found in memory void, locked memories. Voice, blocked memories. Surely it was his death. Well, it doesn't matter for the moment. I will tell you my name. My name is Rainier. I think that with just that you will know more. The fallen angel known as Rainier would detonate the spear in the air, generating a screen of smoke escaping from there, since if she didn't do it she wouldn't have the opportunity to leave and she would die there, and that was something she didn't want. Issei, he would return to normal, turning his eyes from red to purple again. How strange it seems that she knew me, but I don't remember having seen her before. Woman, Gigi, it seems that Rainier couldn't kill you Zero, but I'm not like her, I'll kill you because of Mr. Kokabiel. Issei would dodge a spear that was heading towards him. Issei would switch back to his red eyes mode, the chain on his right arm would shine, a black and red column would appear on Issei's arm, a sword appearing instead of a chain. Issei, activating weapon, Excalibur Morgan, protocol for eliminating life forms known as fallen angels. Executing. The angel would be nervous because if the information was correct, that sword is used to kill the 3 factions, a weapon known as Excalibur Morgan. Woman, this can't be happening. Dagur, I wasn't supposed to be able to get her out yet. If I don't take her out, I'll die. Issei, execution. No matter what you do, you will not be able to escape. Issei would go at great speed, positioning himself behind the fallen angel, giving her a kick, crashing her into the ground and generating a large crater in the place. The fallen angel would try to attack Issei with one of her spears of light, but Issei, alone with Excalibur, would repel them without a lot of effort. Issei would put himself in a position where Excalibur Morgan would come out with energy, covering the sword in black and red. The fallen angel, seeing that, would take out a larger spear of light where power would emanate from it, and both powers would be felt throughout the city where Rias's entourage would realize the power that Issei wielded. Both would charge their entire attack, but they would understand the air, a little more power from Issei, who only with his gaze would see the angel. Woman, thy DMN. Issei, executing, Excalibur Morgan. Issei would tie his sword towards the angel Guido, who threw his spear of light towards Issei, but it was destroyed when it collided with the attack of Excalibur, who swept the spear and hit the fallen angel squarely, eliminating her entire body without leaving a trace. The smoke what generated the attack was cleared up, seeing that there was no sign of the fallen angel. Issei would fall to the ground due to the energy he used, since it was the first time he used Excalibur, and the sword drained all his energy, leaving him unable to move, so only Issei would disappear Excalibur again, with the chain appearing in its place again. That energy I felt, it seems that Issei-kun has Excalibur now. Yes, no, there nothing you can do. Kokabiel, you will be eliminated for what you fear so much. Ha, the hell, it was very risky to see Issei, but it was worth it to see my friend What I was missing, there is that Gremory girl. Rias, what a fallen angel, what are you doing in Gremory territory? Rainier, I just came to see an old friend, but I think you should go see your servants, one of them can't be in trouble. I better leave before that 10th little girl kills me, and dying is not in my plans to do, not before Issei regains his memory. If she ever sees you in that state, I wouldn't forgive myself, and even less not tell the truth. But the behavior of that fallen angel seems strange to me. She seems sad about something, but I better not worry about that. I need to go quickly to where Issei is. It seems that her energy was drained. Better, and I'll go in his magic circle. I'll get there faster. The good thing was that I sent Akino to where Issei was. Luckily she was close there, so she should see what happened. Narrator. Rias would disappear in a magic circle, where Issei was watching as he was helped by Akino to get up looking tired. Rias would approach Issei to see if something happened to him. Rias, Issei, are you okay? What happened to you? Issei, nothing happened to me except that I was visited by 2 fallen angels, and well, I eliminated one, but that used up a lot of energy. Kino, Era stop. Issei is very strong. Fufu, I think you deserve an award. Akino would embrace Issei's cheek, causing Rias to become jealous, but she better not want to complain to her queen about it and would rather talk about it later with her. Issei, out of fatigue, would enter a rest mode to regenerate his energy drained by Excalibur Morgan. Rias, now that she saw that Issei fell asleep, proceeded to talk to Akino, so she did with Issei, but she only laughed a little because of that. Only that both of them would stop laughing when they saw that 2 parts of one would appear on Issei's 2 arms. Black armor, seeing that not only Issei could 2 weapons, that was his chain that he can manipulate like a WHP, and his sword that Akino does not know is Excalibur, only Rias knows, but now Issei possess another weapon. Akino, Rias, this is. Rias, yes, it is a sacred gear, but how? Akino, Era, it seems that Issei-kun has a boss headgear like you. Rias, and like her Fufu, it seems that they have more things in common. Ria would turn red at that comment, although she composed herself, since Issei's boss headgear was something strange, since she had never heard or seen a sacred gear like Issei's. Rias thought that. also be something that those from the church that created Issei were responsible for creating that sacred gear, but I also wanted to see how strong it is. Cassie Issei/narrator Rias. Well, it seems that where Issei lives, I don't know what his parents are like, but from what mommy told him, they are good parents, although it seems that father is away for work. I'm nervous, I'm already close to the door, so I just have to knock. If I say who it is, who are you and what happened to Issei? Wow, she is Issei's mother. She seems very young and she is also very pretty, but I think it would be better if I told her what happened, or rather what Akino told me. Rias, good evening, my name is Rias Gremory. I think Issei told him about the supernatural club. Esteth, so you are Rias, it's a pleasure. My name is Esteth and I am Issei's mother. Wow, it seems that Issei's mother has a surprising power, and from what I see I already know where Issei adapted that way of having a chain on his arm if Mrs. Esteth does the same. Narrator. Rias told him what Akino told him about how she found Issei in the park without power, and that 2 fallen angels appeared to Issei but Issei killed one of them. Esteth, I see how that happened. The truth is that I have seen some fallen angels lurking around our house, but they are not a problem for me since I freeze them or torture them to know what they want. And for what they said that someone named Kokabiel knows about Issei but doesn't know anything about Amami. Rias, Kokabiel, that demon. Steph, if you care about that Kokabiel guy, I think Issei could take care of it, but he would need to get used to his weapon, which I think at this point you know what it is, or I'm wrong. Rias, if I know that he has Excalibur Morgan, Amami told me if that is the case, I will train him to be even stronger. Esteth watched as Rias saw Issei in an affectionate way, which surprised Esteth a little. She did not expect that a demon could see something that Issei himself considered a weapon in that way, although he did not say so openly. Seeing how Rias cares about Issei made Esteth feel calm, although she could teach him more swordsmanship so he wouldn't be a novice in swordsmanship. Esteth could also teach him how to use her ice power, although Issei didn't know she had that. Esteth, thank you for loving my son. If there is anything you want, tell me. Rias, well, that if there is something that he would let me stay tonight with Issei, I would like to see if my power works with Issei. Esteth, well, although I don't want to be a grandmother yet, you can stay. Rias would turn red at Esteth's comment, who only laughed when she saw the demon's reaction, although she found it adorable to see how Rias did not realize what she felt for Issei. Esteth only watched as Rias took Issei to her room. And Esteth was still in the room in her thoughts. Esteth, it seems that Issei managed to change another person, just as he did with me. If it weren't for Issei, I don't think I would have taken him out of that capsule, and much less would I have put my BLD in him. Issei really is someone who changes someone. People when you meet them. Now that I think about it, I think that being a grandmother is not so bad, and I want to see those little children running around here. Hehe. Well people, until today's chapter here, I hope you like it. Thanks for the support of the first chapter. The truth is I didn't think you would like it so many. If you like it, tell me, and if you have ideas, tell me too. With nothing more to say, we don't see. Until the next one, that we'll see you in 2 days. Issei would open her eyes little by little, seeing that she was in her room looking everywhere. She would see something she never thought she would see, and this was that Rias was in her bed completely naked. If that were not enough and still strange, Issei would blush strongly and unconsciously jump up. His bed, waking up the redhead. Rias, good morning, Issei, what are you doing in my 4th president? Rias, last night you fell unconscious due to the use of your energy, so I brought you to your house last night. I met your mother and I healed you, although I didn't think my power would be of any use to you. Issei was a little calmer, but even so, the fact that Rias was still naked and talking as if nothing was happening was not good for him, although he realized that she was more emotional now, although he did not think why, so he better check. Sith database. Emotions unlocked at 50%, memories still locked, name given Rainier. Rias, Rainier, I think that name is heard. She told me that with her name I would know more, although it seems that she knows me and my mother. Rias, strange that, although I think you should ask her. Issei nodded, but first he gave Rias clothes to wear. Why didn't Rias wear her uniform? It was because it was the weekend, so it wasn't necessary. Silly Issei and Rias came down, seeing Esteth cooking quietly, but he heard how they both went down. Good morning, Issei, Rias. Rias, good morning, Estessen. Hello, Mom. Issei and Rias sat down when his death brought a lot of food. Although Issei didn't eat it, she still ate to make her mother happy, and Rias, because she spent magical power on curing Issei's wounds, even though they weren't superficial, had internal wounds counting in energy consumption. Issei, hey, I have a question to ask you. Is death, and what would it be, honey? Who will be a grandmother? Issei, no mom, it's really who is Rainer. Death stopped eating to put on the name. Issei didn't understand why, but he felt in the air that everything was freezing. Issei had to make a heat shield for Rias because if she wasn't there she would end up freezing. Sif, where did you hear that name Issei? Issei, from a fallen angel with that name, and apparently mom knows who she is. Steph, it's like you said, she's a fallen angel and you could say she's your friend when she was a girl. When you were still in your capsule she posed as a human from the church, and she knew you even though you never saw her. At that time you were not complete, and she gave you the name Issei. Both Issei and Rias were surprised by that. According to Rias, Issei's name was Zero because of the experiment, but that she was a fallen angel who gave him an Issei's name was a surprise for both her and Issei. I can't believe it, huh? Mom tells me that I know that fallen angel although I don't remember her and that she gave me my human name. It seems ironic, but it seems that it affects mom a lot. Steph, mommy also knows about her because she was always with you in your capsule. You could say that you were childhood friends with another girl, only the other one went to England. Rias, she is sure of what she is saying, if that's how no one realized she was a fallen angel. Steph, my husband and I knew but we didn't say anything. She looked so happy with Issei and Amami. Although it didn't last long, apparently someone discovered her and tried to kill her. Tatsumi hid her and she was able to escape after that. I really don't know what to say. My first friend is a fallen angel, but if that's the case, my body reacts when it sees one and wants to attack it. I don't know what to think, but it seems like I'll be able to open up part of who I am and why I was created, although last night it was woman told me it was a weapon and all I know is that I am, along with Amamine, the 02 experiment, and that's it. Steph, looking at my son with an expression makes me feel bad. I lied to him for 1 year that we took him out of that capsule, and it wasn't 1 month that we arrived in this city, and I had to tell him everything. I don't know what kind of mother I am. I won't blame Issei if he hates me for not telling him, but I hope he continues to let me be his mother. Issei, well, it doesn't matter, I will discover and unlock my memories, so if you feel that I hate you, then know you are my mother and that will never change. Steph, I was afraid that you wouldn't let me continue being your mother, but this makes me very happy, so why don't we have a break? We already took a lot of time. Narrator. Issei and Rias would go to the Supernatural Club even if there were no classes. Rias organized a meeting with the rest of the members to properly introduce themselves to Issei since there was only one more time left to meet him and this was the opportunity. Both would arrive at the old academy building where Kiba, Akino and a girl with short white hair were waiting for them, who was also wearing a Kuo Academy uniform, something strange for Issei since he was in his normal clothes. Rias, let me introduce you to Kaneko. Tuju is also one of my servants. Kaneko, this is Issei. Issei, hello Kaneko-san, as the president said, I'm Issei. Kaneko, hola Issei-senpai. Rias, although not that you don't believe Issei, she is in the same grade as you and I hope you get along well. They both agreed with what Rias said, but now they should take care of a stray demon. Although Issei does not understand that street demon, Akino explained to him that they are demons that had MSTR but killed him to try to have his place or power, but that was not the case and now they roam around killing humans to feed on their energy. It being night where they would go to an abandoned warehouse, arriving at the place where the stray demon was, what they saw was an adult woman walking as if she were tired from one place to another. Rias, good night Demonson, I am Rias Gremory, heir to the Gremory house and you are in my territory. Demon? Wow, I didn't think the Gremory vine would come personally to see me hehe. The demon's entire body underwent a change since her entire body, the lower part looked like that of a spider with its legs and its upper part remained normal, only it had claws and fangs. Rias, Akino, Yuto take care of her legs, Issei will be in charge of finishing her. Kiba, at the order of the president. Issei, understood entering combat mode. New weapon unlocked angelic demon swords, executing. Rias, angelic demonic swords, what will that be? In Issei's hands that black gauntlet that Rias and Akino saw appeared again, only that the gauntlet changed shape to short black and white swords, and again Issei's eyes went from purple to red. Issei would quickly go to where that demon was, where Kaneko gave him a strong kick and Kiba cut off parts of her body until he retreated because the demon regenerated her pace and damaged parts quickly, which took Issei off guard, and he received a blow from her, sending him against the wall. Akino was on top of the demon with a white kimono with a red skirt. In her hand, yellow rays came out that hit the demon squarely, causing great damage, but she also regenerated quickly. Rias, Issei, are you fine? Issei, if I'm fine, I didn't expect it to have the quality to regenerate, but I already know how to finish it. Issei could quickly stand up and go to where Akino was. Issei, Akino-san, I need your help. Akino-san, now you need Issei-kun. Issei, when I throw my swords towards him, envelop them in your rays to generate even more damage that will cost him to regenerate quickly. Akino, Era seems like it's a good idea and I'm going to enjoy it a lot. Issei would run towards the demino again, dodging its attacks, jumping over it and throwing both swords that were spinning, where Akino put on a face of pure excitement, throwing her rays at Issei's swords, hitting the demon who could barely get up. Because of the great damage that attack received. Issei, President now. Rias, what are your last words, Demon-san? Demon? No. I thought he would be in front of me. The experiment that would kill the 302 factions. I don't trust him. At some point it will kill you or you will lose control. Rias, I will not allow that. That will never happen. No one can decide what Issei is, my precious dear, and I will not let anyone use it as a weapon. Rias charged power of destruction in her hand, hitting the demon, who only laughed like crazy seeing Issei, who was far away attending to Kiba's wounds due to the blow that the demon gave him before. Rias would go towards Issei, where she would see that Kiba was distracted, although I had a small idea what it could be, but it was better not to say anything. Issei? Ready, Kiba-san, I'm done with your mess, now you're fine. Kiba, thanks, Issei-kun. Issei, okay, what's wrong with you, Kiba? In the fight you were very distracted, you could have easily dodged that blow, but what happened? Kiba, nothing's wrong with me, it's fine that they're my things, that's all. Kiba will leave from there, leaving Issei confused, in that Rias, Akino and Kaneko would care about him, seeing where Kiba went, although Issei was worried, although he did not show it. He worries about the boy since his behavior is not normal for him. Rias, well, that's all for tonight. It would be better if we went home, even if I wanted to talk to you. Issei, Akino, can you come? Kino, okay, Rias. Kiba. So today is this day, he who would say it. When I find them I will destroy them for the Avernals used. I will have my revenge for those who did not survive. I will take revenge on Excalibur. I swear, for those who gave their lives so that I could live. Kino. Era, what is it with his Issei's house? His house is very nice. Rias, Issei and I are entering his house and I see a woman coming down the stairs. She is very appealing, skin white as snow, hair blue as the sky, and she wears a suit as if I were a military woman. That is strange. Akino, good evening. My name is Akino Himejima. I am Issei's friend at the club. Isdeth, it's a pleasure to call me Isdeth, and I'm Issei's mother. You're very pretty. Are you sure you're not Issei's girlfriend? Kino, Era, well, that would have to be decided by Issei, right, Issei-kun? Don't mess with me that she's a girlfriend. Isdeth, I haven't unlocked that for you yet, but I will unlock it tomorrow before you go to school. I like Issei-kun's mom, Era. She's a very good person, and it also seems like she wouldn't mind if I go further with Issei-kun. Fufufu, it seems like I'll be able to do more things with Issei. Narrator. Issei took Rias and Akino to his room, where Akino lay down on Issei's bed just like Rias, but Issei was sitting in a chair, where Rias told him everything that happened to Kiba about how he was used along with others. Children in the Excalibur experiment, each child died trying to use one of the Excalibur. The worse they died, it was not that Kiba awakened his sacred gear in Disney, he was able to use Excalibur, but all the remaining children helped Kiba escape, but Mayurio challenged. That's why Kiba's hatred of revenge. Issei, I see, that's why he behaves like this. Rias, if that is the reason, the truth is I don't know how I would react if I knew that you were thrown into the church. Issei, I don't know either, and because of your hatred of Excalibur, I also have an Excalibur, but it is different. Kino, it is true that you have Excalibur. Issei, If I possess the Excalibur Morgan, it is an alternate variant of the original Excalibur. Its power is equal to or more than Excalibur. Kino, era, it seems that Issei-kun is very strong, and you also have those two swords. According to legend, those swords are the demonic and angelic ones. Both swords were given to the faction of the demons and the angels, but it is said that they disappeared or were stolen and now you own them. Yes, I do have them, although I don't know much about the faction of the Demonos and the angels, but I don't really care. What I know is that Kiba must stop that longing for revenge, or that he can get revenge and feel empty. Rias, I would prefer that he not take revenge, but that is his decision. Leaving that aside, let's go to sleep. Akino, era, it's true, it's time to sleep. It was going to be true. They both saw Issei and nodded. So you can ask. Before saying anything else, Rias and Akino pulled Issei towards the bed, remaining in the middle of them in a hug and burying his face between the BRSDS of the two. One-sama. Any boy would kill to be like that, but Issei doesn't care, and he doesn't care either. It bothers them that they do it. Issei, Rias and Akino fell deeply asleep. Both of them felt comfortable with Issei, and he also felt comfortable with them. Death, who saw everything from the door with a smile. Somewhat mocking but tender at the same time to see her son living with more people, even if they were girls. In the streets/night. Two silhouettes were seen wrapped in white cloaks heading towards Kuo, although it seemed that they were looking for something, arriving at the city, staying in a hotel to rest from their long trip. Voice, wow, I didn't think it would be so far away according to the report. Voice 2, yes, the truth is that it is very strange that he is here, but what is going to happen to him? Furthermore, the energy that was recorded is much higher than what they said. Yes, but they are orders and we must comply, although I don't know why they are looking for a lost sword. Voice 2, according to what I heard, it is the Excalibur Morgan that was believed to be lost, although I am sure that only Zero is capable of using it. Voice 0. You are referring to the experiment that was planned to be used for peace between the three factions. Voice 2, yes. Even though I call him Issei-kun, the truth is I still feel sad that he was still destroyed by that explanation. I would have liked to be able to be with him more, and I don't know, maybe marry him. Gigi. Voice, but it wasn't a machine. Voice 2, not in part, yes, but most of it is human, so there would be no problems if I married him. Voice, wow, your imagination is very big, Irina. Voice 2, you already said it. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, although I don't think it's possible now that Zenobia is gone. Both people knew they were women, in search of Excalibur Morgan, without knowing that one would run into an old friend of his, and he began to fall in love with both of them. Now that Irina doesn't know that Issei is alive, how to react when knowing that he is with the Deminos, or knowing that Issei is not an experiment to bring peace but to destroy the two factions of demon and fallen angels. They will know that the church has evil plans with the use of Issei, or they will know that some collaborate with fallen angels. Kiba will know what Issei is, and if he discovers how he will react to the situation, Issei will know who he was designed and created for. Next chapter, The Dragon of Darkness. Rias shows off her sacred gear. Friends meet, truths emerge. Issei was doing this on behalf of Rias, who asked him to meet a girl who wanted a request from the demons, although for Issei this was a nuisance, but he would have to fulfill his part of the deal. It's been a few days since Issei used Excalibur Morgan and the demonic and angelic swords for the first time. Now Issei was looking for a way to use Excalibur without getting tired due to the wear and tear of magic that it entails. Issei was so scared that he didn't realize he had collided with someone, both falling to the ground. Issei, I'm sorry I didn't notice where he was. Voice, it doesn't matter. I didn't see where I was going either. Issei, I apologize again. What's your name? Voice, my name is Argento. Issei, it's a pleasure. My name is Issei. Issei had helped Lin after Asia. A blonde girl seemed to be a foreigner. She wore a nun's uniform that Issei recognized instantly and remembered that Rias told her that she would not harm any of the church, since they could harm anyone with their sacred power. A demon. Asia, excuse me. Issei-san. Would help me to go to this place. Thus he would take out a map where a church was located, and according to his death she had told him that that place had been abandoned. I'm sure it will take you there. Gracias, Issei. Issei would take Asia to the church, although Issei told her that that place had been abandoned. Asia had told him that it didn't matter since she would meet someone there. Asia, thanks again, Issei. Issei, it's nothing, Asia-san, we'll see you later or maybe very soon. Issei would leave the second he made his way to his client's house. He had already been too late to help Asia. Although he felt that they were being watched, his sensors had detected a presence in the air. Looking up, he saw something that looked like a flying person with blue wings blinked once and disappeared from Issei's sight and radar. Issei, that was strange. I think I'd better go to take my client quickly. Nearby in some trees there was a person of a woman who seemed to be a little older, about 20 years old, who saw Issei leaving there. So he is alive, hee. It seems that no one investigated well, or what do you think, Albion? Albion, I'm sure it's him, although he doesn't seem to remember his mission. Hee, it seems like I found something interesting. I wonder what Rias thinks about this anyway. We are both dragons, so she may already know. The mysterious woman would leave quickly from the tree where she was. With Issei, she was outside her client's apartment, but the door was open. It was obvious that they had forced entry. Issei's sensors detected the presence of someone inside, in addition to notifying that there is a trace of BLD. Voice, wow, but if it's a demon Kuan, what's wrong? You're not with your emissaries. Issei, who are you? Why did you kill that human? Voice, why is he scum infected by demons? He sold his soul to the devil, that's why he had to die. Issei became serious, taking out his twin swords and pointing one at the person in front of him. Before I kill you, what's your name? Fred, my name is Fred and I am an exorcist who will end your life, dirty demon. Fred would take out a gun and a lightsaber pointing too, but he would do Issei. They both looked at each other defiantly without doing anything until a sound of a soda can fell. Issei was talking about the exorcist colliding his sword with Fred's, but he would aim it at Issei's face and shoot, only for Issei to dodge the shot by moving towards him. But Issei, wow, you are good with the sword though. Issei at a high speed would be behind Fred, who could not see his movements. This is your end. Murderer. Asia, listen. Issei would stop when he heard Asia's voice, seeing the blonde girl he had known a few hours ago at the entrance. Thanks to carelessness, Fred took the opportunity to attack Issei with his sword, but Issei managed to defend himself with his sword, retreating and repositioning himself with their swords in defense. Asia-san, what are you doing here? Are you with him? With that murderer. Asia, murderer. Asia looked around, seeing all the BLD in the place. She couldn't help but get scared and start shaking at what she saw and approaching Issei, shaking like hell. Issei looked at Asia as she trembled and approached her, putting a hand on her shoulder. Issei, Asia, let's get out of here. I'll explain what's happening later. Asia, yes, if I want to go with you, please. This is not what I want, please. Issei would take Asia princess style by jumping out of the window, and at great speed he would run towards the Kuo Academy, where at the door he would see Rias and Aquino at the entrance with a serious expression. Rias, I know what happened. Who is she? She is from the church. Aquino, Era, it seems that Issei-kun got a friend even if she is from the Fufufu church. Note, Asia's appearance is different than in the anime. Plus I still won't be able to see what she looks like, and here Asia got ugly with Issei when she saw the death that Fred caused. Issei would explain to them what happened with the exorcist that he encountered and how he met Asia. Rias would understand what was happening in addition to feeling that Asia possesses a sacred gear. Rias, I understand everything that Asia-san is going through, but you can't be here in my territory, much less being someone from the church, so we will help you with the problem of that exorcist. Asia, thank you, Rias, and although I would like to help a magic that is there, that everyone in that place insulted me why I had even helped the demon by curing him, calling me a witch. Aquino, Era, it seems that Asia cares about her friend. What do you say? Issei-kun. Issei, I will help. If it is an important person for Asia-san, I want to help. Asia would be happy to see that the boy she barely knew would help her save her friend. Rias, well, if that is your decision, we will go to help Asia's friend. Aquino, Kiba, Kaneko, get ready, we will go for that street exorcist. But Rias and her entire entourage would go to the location where Asia told them. Issei carried Asia on his back while the others ran, flying with their demon wings spread. They would arrive at a church that was somewhat destroyed and apparently abandoned. Issei's sensor detected several presences inside, 2 inside and 3 below waiting for them. Issei warned Rias of the presences. Rias, Hiba, go straight towards them. They are fallen angels because of their presence. Issei/Kibahai. Issei would take out the twin swords, while Kiba imitated Issei's swords thanks to his sacred gear, which allows him to imitate and copy weapons, only not at their maximum power, but it would serve him well for this battle. He can take care of the big one, I'll take care of these two. It's okay Kiba, but take care of yourself. Kiba realized attacking the fallen angels who were there, one with a feminine appearance and the appearance of a teenager, while Issei was in charge of the fallen angel with the appearance of a man. Rias, Akino, Kaneko and Asia would go to the church. Seeing Fred pointing his sword was a girl from there whom Asia recognized instantly. Rain-sama, I came back to get her out of there. Reina, Aisha-chan, what are you doing here? Go. Rainier remained silent when she saw Rias with Asia and thought that if she was there it meant that Issei was also there fighting. Fred girded him in what those useless people do. They can't handle simple demons. Hodrev is an insular Issei-kun. Rias, how do you know Issei? Akino, era it seems like there are quite interesting things happening but or not Issei-kun. Rainier turned around and came to Issei with Kiba who were a little angry from fighting with the fallen angels. Whose names I don't remember. But they won't appear again. Rainier Issei-kun. Issei, see you again. Rias, I know what's wrong with you? Issei would start clutching his head in pain and his eyes would turn red again. Looking at Rainier without a trace of emotion, he would go towards the fallen angel, but a barrier prevented him from doing so. Amami, I always have to take care of my little brother's problems, but that's what an older sister does or not. Amami, order system activated. Issei, order accepted. What is my mission? Amami, your new mission is to protect that girl and your friends. Amami pointed to Rainier who looked at her in surprise when Issei's eyes changed to their original color. The fallen angel, still nervous, tried to approach Issei but Fred grabbed her by the hair, pulling her towards him and pointing his sword at her. Fred, let's see if you can handle that, you disgusting demon. Before Fred stabbed Rainier, he noticed that his hand flew away, looking back at Issei who unsheathed his twin swords and stabbed the exorcist again in the releasing the fallen angel who was trapped by the swords and would fight with Asia. Asia, Rainier-sama, it's good that you're fine. Rainier, I thought I would never see you again. Asia-chan, that's good. Kino, I'm still confused how she knows Issei-kun. Rias told Akino everything that his death told her a few days ago, only that she did not tell Kaneko or Kiba because if he found out that Issei was created in the church, he would not know how he would be. Rainier got up from where she was with the nun and tried to approach Issei, somewhat nervously, but Amami, who was behind her, would push her towards Issei, staying close to him. Rainier, Issei-kun. I want to tell you that. There is nothing to say, I know everything Mom told me and Amamine unlocked the part of the memories with you. Rainier couldn't stand it anymore and would break into the call while being hugged by Issei, and Rainier would get stuck even more by not letting go and taking out everything she could stand. Rainier, I looked for you everywhere that I thought that I would never see you again. I don't want to be alone again. Issei-kun. Please. Issei, don't worry, now that I remember you, you can come home with me and Amamine, I'm sure Mom will be happy to see you. Although the moment was happy, they realized that a magic circle different from that of Rias appeared, leaving from there the president of the student council Sona Citri, a member of the Citri house, and an upper-class demino like Rias. Sona, wow Rias, I didn't think you would take care of everything although thanks for leaving one for me. Sona pointed to Rainier who began to tremble slightly, which Issei noticed, and the twin swords appeared again in her hands and she would point one towards the president. Issei, I won't allow you to touch my friend. If you will pay me back, it doesn't matter if you are a high-class demon. Rias, stop. Leave this to me. Sona, I can't let you do this. She is under my protection as the current security. Sona, I know you are the security, but protecting a fallen angel is not typical of you. Rias, well, I would say that she is something interesting. The truth is so she is under my protection. Sona, well, but if something goes wrong or she betrays you, I myself will end it, I understand. Issei, don't worry about Presidenta, Rainier won't do that. Sona, without any other option, left Rias and her entourage to take care of the fallen angel. Rias, Approached Rainier, who was still behind Issei, although she was still trembling a little. Rias. And tell me, Rainier, wouldn't you like to join my entourage? Rainier dash dot. Rias, and you would like your Asia too. Asia, well, only if Rainier-sama enters. Rainier, I accept. If this way she could be with Issei-kun and Asia-chan. Rias and Akino didn't like that, as Rainier was very affectionate with Issei, although they didn't know why they felt towards him, but they would see that later Rainier was still stuck with Issei. Asia saw all this without understanding why she felt the air. So is Rias, well Asia, Rainier come over to give you her evil pies. Asia and Rainier would approach Rias, where Asia's piece isn't a fill. In Rainier's case it seemed that it would not change since Pawn's cannons shone and went towards the fallen angel. Akino, I didn't think someone would be able to use all of Pawn's pieces and also mutate them. That's interesting, Fuff. Rainier, wow, it seems like I have a lot more power than I thought. Rias, that's good. If you were able to make all the pawn feet go to you, it means that if you have a lot of power. In the case of Issei, his foot is the horse, but he is looked at just like Kiba. Rainier was amazed by what Rias told her. She did not expect that her friend would carry mutated feet, and even more so because she heard from Rias that she is the current Security, which meant that she carries the booster gear of the Red Emperor Dragon. Amami, well, it's better that we go home. Issei, Mom must be worried why we are late. Issei, if you are right. Hey Rainier, Asia who will come home with us. Mom will be happy to see you. Rainier. Rain, yes, I'd be happy to go. Rias, I see I can go to your house. Akino, I also want to go to Issei-kun's house. Amami, wow little brother, you are very popular. Hafufufu. Issei, it's like I didn't hear that. Amami. Amami only laughed at her brother's somewhat red face. It was the first time she saw him like that, and she liked that. She wanted to see more expressions in her brother. She wanted him to be more human and open more in his emotions. Issei would take everyone to his house except for Kiba and Kaneko, who better retired to their house to rest. Arriving at the door, I opened Esteth, seeing her son and her daughter. Oh worse, I'm also going to. Apart from Rias, she saw 3 other girls, but one caught his attention. Stiff, Rainier-chan Iris too. Hi, how are you? 6 years after we saw each other, right? Yes, I'm glad to see that you're fine. And you are? Asia, hello, good evening, my name is Asia Argento. Esteth saw her clothing, knowing that it was from the church, but if she was with Issei then it means that she already knew how the church acts. She wondered why Asia, being so young, would know the truth of something she was so ignorant about and know the whole story. Truth could be strong. Well, young lady, who are you? Akino, my name is Akino Himejima and I am Issei-kun's fiancé. Kino. Esteth saw this and thought that her son had made good friends, since her son was very red because of what Akino said, although the truth was that it didn't bother her if she were Issei's wife or Rias or maybe Rainier. Esteth, thank you for taking care of my son, I appreciate it. Akino, no, Issei-kun is very important to us, he is our friend and my Kokai. Note, I don't know if that's how you write what Akino says to Issei, but I'll put it like this: if that's not the case, could you correct it? Thef. In fact, there is someone inside who seems to know you. Issei, meet me. Issei would enter the room and see 2 people there with white robes, a girl with orange hair and another with blue hair with green bangs. Esteth, Irina-chan, look. Irina, Issei. Issei would be knocked down by the girl who hugged Issei without letting go, as if she were going to lose him again. Irina, no, I didn't think I would see you again. That I missed you a lot. SNF. For you. Irina, you don't remember me, it's me, Irina. Esteth, Irina-chan does not remember anything from his time in the capsule. Part of his memories are erased or sealed. Amami, in fact I was able to unlock some memories of Rainier, but the memories with Irina are very sealed with various inscriptions. It would take me a few weeks to unlock them. Irina, then I can get my time back with Issei. Esteth, yes, but it would be better for the moment not to tell anyone in the church that he is alive. Voice, sorry, I feel out of place. Irina, or sorry, Zenobia. Zenobia, it doesn't matter, so he is your friend that you told me a lot about. Irina. Irina, if it's him, I think you heard everything right. Zenobia, yes, I heard everything. So this is the 02 experiment, then you have Excalibur, right? Issei, yes it is, and there is some problem. Zenobia, If our mission is to recover Excalibur, the one you have, so we have to hand it over. Issei did not like how the girl spoke to him and manifested his double swords. Say, or that it will be the strong way. Before the house became a war zone, Zenobia and Issei's feet froze, watching Isteth's eyes light up, demonstrating her power. Isteth, they are not going to fight in my house. Issei calamate and your girl calm down too. Issei, it's okay, I got carried away again. Rias, Issei, are you fine? Issei, if it's not the first time that mom freezes me. Amami, yes it will be like the third time. Zenobia, Irina, let's go to make something clear to you. Issei, I will return for Excalibur, I promise, for the honor of the knights. See you later, Issei. Both girls would leave the house, stripping their clothes. The tense air a few moments ago, and after Aquino, Asia and Rainier would emerge, looking everywhere. Rainier, wow, how Irina changed, I almost didn't recognize her. The bad thing is that if her partner had seen us, he would have tried to kill us. Don't worry, I won't let that happen. Zenobia, I can't let him have Excalibur, it's dangerous, for him and for those around him, although it's cute. But what am I saying, for the honor of the knights, I must fulfill my mission even if I have to kill him. Irina's friend is it? Irina, Vala Issei changed a lot now, he's cuter hee. Although I think he saw Rainier there too, but she was hidden. Why would it have been like that? New day in the city of Kuo. In the academy you could see the entire Gremory entourage, and in front of them the two envoys of the church. In front of them, Rias was looking at the two while Irina was talking to Issei. Zenobia only saw Issei analyzing his movements. Rainier was behind Aquino hiding from Irina. Rias, well, what do you need? Zenobia, what we need is for him to give us Excalibur. Kiba, that Excalibur, what do you mean by that? Issei-kun doesn't have Excalibur. Zenobia, that's what you're wrong about. Your friend Issei carries the Excalibur cloning experiment, better known as Excalibur Morgan. Say, Kiba, is that true, Issei? Issei, yes it's true. Zenobia, not only that, he is also the 02 experiment along with his sister, both are 02. Rias, that's enough. I won't allow you to continue talking like that about Ise. I don't know that nor Amami, they are not 02. Issei, President, that's enough. It's really my fault for not telling everyone that. Irina, is Zenobia, I think that's enough. Issei-kun is my friend. Zenobia turned her gaze to Irina in disbelief, although that come from the history these two have. Zenobia, it doesn't matter. You must return the Excalibur now. Issei, even if I wanted to, I can't. The Excalibur Morgan is designed for me to use only. So I can't. Aquino, Era, it seems like you won't be able to do what you want. Fufufu. Zenobia, it doesn't matter, I'll just have to kill you to get Excalibur Morgan back. Irina, Zenobia, you can't kill Issei. Before the place became a war zone, Kiba put a sword in front of Zenobia, challenging her to a fight. Now I was worse, although Issei wanted to see Iran's skills so they would also participate. In the courtyard of the academy it was afternoon, so there was no one there except them. The fight broke out like this. It would be Kiba against Zenobia and Issei against Irina. The one between the two of them would be to see each other's abilities. Irina, we see how far Issei-kun has advanced. Hehe. Issei, what do you mean? Irina, Gigi, if you beat me I'll tell you. With Zenobia and Kiba. Kiba, entendre my revenge towards Excalibur, avenge those who used us for their dim-end plans. Zenobia, so you are one of the survivors. Let me tell you that I am also one of the ones they used for the Excalibur experiment, although I come from somewhere else. Kiba would rush towards Zenobia, who put up her sword to defend herself from the attack, although it was strange. Kiba felt frustrated. Although he tried, he could not land a single blow on Zenobia, who only looked at Kiba with disappointment, until Kiba decided to take out the two twin swords that he copied, surprising Zenobia since those swords were known since the church wanted to possess them. Now the attacks made Zenobia retreat somewhat, although she could still defend herself against Kiba, who was already tired, which Zenobia realized and hit him with the grip part of the sword, leaving Kiba unconscious. The fight between Issei and Irina was summed up and ended quickly since Issei left Irina tied up, who tried to free herself, although it was impossible to untie herself while she was on Issei's sword that was carrying her. and saw how the fight between Kiba and Zenobia ended. Issei left Irina with Rias still tied up, although Akino untied her. Irina looked at Zenobia a little worried, thinking what she would do to her, although she believed that Issei wouldn't be so mean to her. Issei, well, I think it's time to end this. Zenobia, yes, you are right. But I think it will be better if I use this. Zenobia removed all the bandages that covered her sword in a pulse of energy, revealing a sword whose edge shone, having the magician a blue color. Kiba woke up and looked at what was his goal of revenge, but at the same time he trembled when he felt the power of the sword. Kiba, Excalibur. Rias, it's that Excalibur, Kiba. You feel too much power from that sword just by looking at it. Can Issei, why Zenobia? Issei, well, that's Excalibur. I think it will be fair if I do the same, right? Issei, weapon unlocked. Nombre Excalibur Morgan accepted. Zenobia, so that Excalibur Morgan. It seems like it's true about the power it has. It's bad, I think I'll have to use that. Irina, Zenobia, you are not thinking of using it. Zenovia's body would begin to shine, appearing with a somewhat strange armor, but it felt like she could have more power than before. Around her, lightning bolts came out from the power that was felt, something that Issei noticed and decided to get more serious. The armor that Zenobia was wearing was a bluish dress on the chest part. It also had armor on the arms and legs. In the missing section, it had metal plates of armor on Zenovia's sides attached to the chest section. Note: I found her, and well, I don't think Zenobia looks cute in Siba or Sibar's clothes from Fate, so I have a half-baked idea. Zenobia, it seems like I'm ready. Although I'm still not used to this, so let's get started. The rest of the Gremory entourage watched this in amazement and wondered what Zenobia did, something that Irina would explain to them to understand what the girl did. Irina, better tell you, Zenovia's name is Zenobia Corda Pendragon. She is a descendant of King Arthur, although she does not like to be compared to him. Rias, I see that he asked me if Issei is okay. Irina, it will be fine. Zenobia doesn't know it yet, but Issei-kun is stronger than her, but I know that Issei will lower himself to her level to test his strength. It's something he did when we were children. Akino, what do you mean by that? Not according to his mother, who told us that he was always Irina. Something that Issei doesn't know, and it's his past before he and Amami were known as 02. Kiba, what do you mean? Irina, Issei-kun and Amami were humans before. They met me when we were 5 years old. They and their BLD parents went to church one day, but some fallen angels attacked us and killed many humans because most of them had a sacred gear, and among them was Issei. A fallen angel attacked Issei and Amami, but their mother got in the way and died. But Issei and Amami were also damaged by that. His father fell into despair when his wife died. And that caused him to use his children as test subjects to create a being capable of killing the 3 factions. Issei is known as 0 and his sister as 2 for being the second to be used. He let me be with them so that they wouldn't go crazy. Rias, no, you can't be. And why did Issei have a sacred gear? Irina, according to her mother, she told me why Issei was born weak. Only that a demon helped her by giving her a sacred gear that he created. I think it's called Zero Phantom. I just don't know what. Ago, Issei's mother affectionately called him Zero. And that one day he would return and join his ranks. Issei was brown-haired, but when his father experimented with him and activated his sacred gear, his hair turned black and apparently his emotions left temporarily. That's all I know. Akino, what kind of father would do that to his children? It's not fair that they suffer because of that. Irina, his father erased his memories, not remembering his parents or himself, but apparently they are still the same inseparable brothers. Gigi Issei, before he was very afraid and emotional, but now. This Issei is different from the one I knew. But he will still be Issei. Issei and Zenobia. Both Excalibur users stared at each other without saying anything or doing anything. Their gazes stayed staring at each other, but Zenobia would be a little nervous since it would be the first time she would fight using her real power, plus Issei made her nervous. A blush appearing on his cheeks. Since she met him and saw how serious he was, and noticing his confidence made her heart race, Zenobia shook off those thoughts, settling down to fight just like Issei. Zenobia attacked Excalibur by launching an attack of sword energy towards Issei, but the one with Excalibur Morgan deflected the attack, launching towards Zenobia. Both Excalibur would collide, cracking the ground due to the immense power that their hands had at the moment. Issei removed Excalibur Morgan trying to hit Zenobia, but she dodged his attack by brandishing Excalibur. Akino, Era Isagen is good, but Zenobia is also good. Rias, yes, but it seems that Issei is playing with her. That fool. Irina, that's why I told you that Issei-kun would be fine. He's stronger than Zenobia, but she doesn't get all her power because she's not used to it. Sin. Zenovia's skills were really to be admired. It was like fighting with a knight. Issei really felt like he was fighting with a knight. From ancient times, his skill with his sword was admirable, although it seems that his control with his power was unstable. Issei, it seems that I fought with a real knight. It seems that your last name is not to be underestimated. Zenobia, don't underestimate me. I can still fight. I haven't given up yet for my honor as a gentleman. Issei, enough, you know that you can't win. Better rest and tell us what you were really looking for apart from my Excalibur. Zenobia, the fallen angel known as Kokabiel stole part of other Excalibur that were created. The church sent us to recover them, but I don't want some demons to get in our way. Issei, come on, anyway we would act. Kokabiel is also a threat to us too. Zenobia, let's do something. If I win they don't get involved. If you win they can help, that's fine. Issei agreed to Zenovia's terms. They both took their positions again. This time the posture was different with Zenobia. Issei realized this and knew what he would try to do, so he also adopted a different posture than Zenobia. Zenobia, let's finish this. Issei would try to use again that energy that he used the last time with the fallen angel. Issei, Excalibur Morgan. Zenobia, Excalibrate. Both attacks collided in a clash of power. Neither of them backed down from the attack. Neither Issei nor Zenobia stopped drawing more power from the Excalibur. Kiba, who saw all this, knew that he couldn't do anything against the Excalibur. Rias, Akino, Irina, Asia and Kaneko saw all the power that both emanated that they had to use a magical shield to avoid being carried away by the shockwave. Rias, if they don't stop the school will suffer damage. Ise stop. Akino, Ise is strong but this is taking it to the extreme. Irina, they are both similar, they get carried away by the fight and they do not measure their consciences until they stop fighting. That the only thing left to do is wait until they get tired. Kaneko, Issei senpai tanto. Asia, Issei-sen got carried away. All this energy is very strong from both of them. Issei-sen, Zenobia-san stop. Voice, it seems that things are going wrong. Rias, that voice. Why did it have to arrive at this time? Thos, dive. The attacks of both Excalibur surrendered their power until the energy from the Excalibur stopped coming out. That was a relief for the Gremory entourage and Irina and for Zenobia since she could no longer stop her attack. As for Issei, he looked at the sky, seeing that strange figure that mocked him in blue again. When Issei tried to talk to that person, he simply disappeared from everyone's sight. Rias, why did you appear at this moment? You know that I have more important things than this. Voice, I know but I wanted to see Zero's power. I think I'll have a lot of fun with him. Issei, President, whose voice is that? And who is it? It's the second time I've seen that figure. Don't worry, Ethan. Everything will be in its own time. For the moment we should help her. Asia, I'll take care of that. Asia would go with. Zenobia, tell me something. Why did you become a demon? Asia, the church that I lied to me all my life. It told me that eliminating the demino was God's plan, but I am sure it is not. It is also doing things horrible. What happened to Kiba-san to Issei-san to his sister, that the church ruined their lives. Irina, when we recover the stolen Excalibur I will demand an explanation for all this. Zenobia, I hate to say this but I lost against him. Irina, I already knew that you would lose. Issei-kun is stronger, and you are not used to using your full power, remember? Both envoys from the church continued talking but they did not notice that Issei was addressing them. Say, and well they will let us help them. Zenobia, a deal is a deal, I'll let them help. Rias, well, it's all decided to help the two of them recover Excalibur, it's clear. Hi President. Irina, wow, they are very lively, right Zenobia? Zenobia, yes that they are. Zenobia couldn't stop looking at Issei. The memories of their duel passed through her eyes again, as both of them who were looking into each other's eyes connected with their swords. Zenovia's heart was beating faster than normal, causing a blush to appear on her cheeks. Irina, she realized that and smiled a little funny. Irina, if you stare at him like that, you'll look like a crazy person. Zenovia, what do you mean? I'm not seeing it. Irina, come on Zenovia, I know you're liking Issei. I've also liked him for many years. Now that I see him again I can be with him. Zenovia, it's not that I like him. I just don't know what it is about him that makes the people around him change. Irina, Issei was always like that. The people around him change and tend to become his friends. When I met him he seemed like a crying child to me, but he was always determined to do everything he proposed. Zenovia, now that you mention it, how was your fight with Issei? Irina, it was one of martial arts. Her mother had taught us before she died, so we both decided to see how much progress the other had made in that aspect. Zenovia, I didn't know you practiced martial arts. More crazy things happened today. Well, we better rest. There were a lot of emotions today and we must plan well how we will fight against Kokabiel. Rias, he is right, let's go home and rest. We're leaving. Akino, that's not fair. Rias, I also want to go with Issei-kun and Fufufu. Irina, I also want to go with Issei-kun. Let's go Zenovia. Zenovia, and why it's not that I want to go too. Kaneko, Kiba would go home since they did not want to participate in this. That would become a war. Rias, Arya, a friendly portal appearing in Issei's house, whereas Death was in the living room watching how her children and the girls from the other day appeared. Stiff. Wow, Irina-chan, you will stay with us, right? And so will you Zenovia. Irina, yes, if it's not too much trouble. Istef, not at all. Fufu, my son is becoming more popular. True, yes. They know I'm here, right? Istef, yes, that's why we say it. Although at the moment I still don't want to be a grandmother, so be careful. All the girls had blushed, although Rias, Akino and Irina seemed happy with the idea of being mothers, although Zenovia had to see a huge blush on her face, since she had imagined Issei arriving home and she receiving two blue-haired girls with black locks on the side of his head. Issei, Mom, please don't give them ideas. Akino, what's happening Issei-kun, you don't want us to do it Fufu. Rias, enough. Akino stops urging Issei, although it wouldn't be a bad idea to be a mother if the BRTH rate of demons was high. Issei, well, leaving this aside that Mom, Irina and Zenovia are going to stay the night here. Let's see, I'll show you their rooms. Akino, I'm staying with Issei. Rias, no Akino, I'll stay with Issei. Rina, no, I should be with Issei-kun. Zenovia, I don't care. Issei looked at this and didn't know what to do, so he let them stay with him, although Zenovia seemed to not end up unconsciously hugging Issei while he slept like the other girls. On the other side, there was still a fallen angel with 7 black wings. This was Kokabiel looking at one of his lacalos while informing him about the 2 Excalibur users they saw. Kokabiel, so those 2 have Excalibur, huh? Angel Kato, yes sir, that they are really strong. Both are from the Excalibur experiment. And one of them carries the original Excalibur and the other has Excalibur Morgan, one of the prototypes that the church created, being the only one that works. Kokabiel, that's nothing. Even though the Excalibur are strong, the carriers are not. Plus we have this. Angel Kato, Kokabiel-sama SOES. Kokabiel, if the Holy Grail is a powerful weapon that was used by the stupid humans who fought for it. Now I have it, and I will be able to finish off those 2. Fallen Angel Kokabiel-sama. The user of Excalibur Morgan is with the heir of the Gremory house. She is the daughter of the current Mao Rias Gremory. Kokabiel, she won't be able to do anything against me. That if I kill her, the Mao will come personally and I will be able to kill him with the Excalibur. Ha. Laughter echoed in the hiding place where the fallen angel known as Kokabiel was located. In front of him were some fallen angels next to the street priest Fred, who is still alive. How will Issei manage to face these threats? A day had passed since Issei and reason for stealing the Excalibur. Today they were called by Rias, who had more jobs for Issei and Asia since they were the new ones. Issei went to a place where a large mansion was located. Although Issei did not want to take more importance to the place seemed to be expensive for the person who lived there. The bathroom door would be heard. Issei would look in the direction, seeing a girl who seemed to be around 20 years old. Her skin was white, her hair was somewhat short and white as snow, her body was very defined in the curves, Issei had to look away. Since he was not used to her emotions, although he did not deny that she was appealing and too attractive. Issei, hello, I'm Issei and you were the one who requested my services. Woman, if it's me, Fufufu, why are you nervous? There's something you like. Issei, I'm sorry that I'm not used to this kind of things. Woman, Fufufu, then I will have to teach you more. No. Issei, no need, miss. I do that. Can you tell me why you request my services? Woman, well, I did it so we could go out. I want to go out with you. The woman had already dressed and with SNSL voice she said in Issei's ear, causing him to blush since Issei was not used to a woman leaning her body against him a lot, although the only one who knew that was Akino, sometimes Rias his mother, although she always hugged him just like a mommy. Issei, can I ask your name? Woman, yes, my name is Valerie and I want us to go out wherever. Say, okay then let's go. Hurry, say again. Valerie took Issei's hand leaving the building. Near the sauna were Rias and Akino, who felt Issei's presence at work, seeing him with a woman that Rias and Akino recognized. Akino, Era Rias is who I think she is. Rias, if it's her, why would she hire Issei? Although it didn't seem like it, Rias was jealous, as was Akino, since they saw how Valerie was holding Issei's hand, something that they couldn't do, but they both withdrew since they had to take care of something. Con Issei, why Valerie? Valerie pulled Issei towards some attractions that were in the city, although Issei did not know what they were, but he still followed Valerie. Issei had dressed in a black jacket, a white tank top, some dark blue breeds, and some colored sneakers. White, in Valerie's case she was dressed in a somewhat short black dress, on top of which she had a dark blue sweatshirt and boots of the same black color. Although Issei didn't say it, Valerie danced really beautifully, even more so since she seemed to still have an aura of danger around her, which made many boys try to get in touch with her, but they were beaten by herself. Valerie was taking Issei to some games at an amusement park that arrived a few days ago, where they both played. Issei, winning a stuffed animal of a white dragon, giving it to Valerie, who blushed a lot since it was the first time someone had given him something. Valerie, thank you Issei-kun, I really like the gift. Issei, I'm glad you like it. The truth is I felt like I should give it to you when I saw the dragon stuffed animal. I thought it looked like you. Valerie, although he is right but I can't even tell him. They both continued going through the attractions, playing, winning more prizes. One of them was necklaces with the image of a white dragon and another black one. Valerie gave Issei the white dragon necklace and she had the black dragon. Valerie, we will both have this to remind us that it's okay. Issei, yes, that's okay. Thank you Valerie and Issei went to the Ferris wheel. The sun was already setting but it was still light. They had both sat in the same place watching the sunset. Valerie was nervous since it would be the first time she had, but I wanted to be well. Valerie, I had a lot of fun Issei-kun, thank you. Issei, no problems. The truth is it's the first time I come and do this kind of thing, but I still had a lot of fun. Issei was smiling as he remembered everything they did that day. The truth was that it was fun for Issei and Valerie, only now Valerie was nervous about what she was going to do. Taking all the courage she had, she was going to approach Issei since they both stayed looking. Valerie put the dragon stuffed animal next to him and, taking Issei's neck, he approached him, giving him an embrace on the lips. When a koite was thrown in the fair, it exploded and gave an atmosphere for what they were doing. Issei was surprised since Valerie, she was the first woman to embrace Issei on the lips. When they separated, Valerie had a very big blush on her cheeks and she took the dragon stuffed animal that Issei gave her again to cover her face to prevent Issei from seeing her blush. The roux had come down from there, although that didn't stop Valerie from continuing to drink. And with Issei, Valerie, Issei-kun, These, don't worry about it, I'm not upset. Valerie, yes, but I did it without telling you anything and Issei didn't say anything and pulled Valerie by the hand, now giving him the embrace that caught Valerie off guard, causing her to blush even more. Issei, don't worry about that, it's okay, if the embrace caught me off guard, but don't get like that, it's okay. Valerie, now I'm the one surprised now you embraced me. Issei, yes, but it doesn't matter, although that was my first embrace. They both continued walking until they passed through a somewhat dangerous alley. Out of the shadows came 5 people who had knives, demanding that they give them what they had. Thief, look boss, that girl is very pretty Thief, If it is, how about we kill that boy and have fun with his girlfriend Hihi? Valerie, Dimende. Say, I'll take care of it. Thief. Of course before killing you will see how much fun we have with her Haara. Before he could continue speaking, the thief Issei hit him in the stomach, crashing him next to some garbage containers. Issei was surrounded by 4 of the thieves and 1 stayed with Valerie, although she did not stay behind. She took the thief's arm and he threw it towards the others. Issei had jumped to avoid the impact. Issei, wow, I didn't know you knew how to defend yourself. Valerie, oh things you don't know Ain. Valerie had left his stuffed animal on top of a vending machine and came to where he was with Issei. Both of them beat up the thieves who were there, and even if the thieves tried to hit them with their knives, Issei always repelled them without any problems. Although they had already been beaten up, they were still persistent, so Issei applied electricity to their hands, giving them electric shocks, now leaving them unconscious. Valerie, you better leave, the police here know me. If they see someone they haven't seen, they may arrest you. Issei, it's okay, take care, it's okay. Valerie, Asensio and Issei gave him the dragon stuffed animal again, which he won by jumping over the buildings, filling himself with hay. Valerie, well, how long do the sleeping ones plow each other? All the thieves stood up as if nothing had happened, one taking out fallen angel wings, proving that they were fallen angels. Angel Kato, it seems like you don't want to put your girlfriend in danger, huh? Valerie, shut up that you are going to die here. If you knew who I was you would still let me be by your side. Valerie would take care of the fallen angels who disappeared in a magic circle, while Issei and Issei were jumping through buildings, wondering if she would be okay, although she came out of her thoughts when she heard Rias's voice in her head. Rias, Issei, come to the old academy building, we need to talk. I'm on my way, President. Issei would go faster to the old academy building, seeing everyone in the entourage and Irina and Zenobia there too. Issei, what's up, President? Akino, Issei, there's something we should tell you about the girl you met today. Issei, you mean Valerie? Rias, yes, hers. Well, she is. Before he could speak more, an explosion was heard outside the academy, interrupting the conversations, everyone leaving seeing a group of fallen angels. Also the street exorcist Fred was alive, something that surprised Issei, why he swore that he killed him in the church. Say, how are you still alive, Fred? Fred, wow demon Kuan, I see you fine. Amami, if not as much as you will be. Rias, Amami, calm down both of you, that this is not the time for this. Fred, wow, it seems like it was a good idea to come here for the Excalibur, right, sir? Kokabiel descended from heaven with his 10 wings of a fallen angel. Behind him were the stolen Excalibur, looking with great superiority at everyone who was there. Zenobia, those are the stolen Excalibur, the menu. Kokabiel, why would it be these swords were made to protect God, but in case you didn't know, he is dead along with the original Mao, who died in the war Irina, it's not possible. Zenobia, it's a lie, it's a lie, God is not dead. Issei, that's even possible. Rias, if it's possible, Issei, although I didn't think he had died in the war, that explains why there are so many street exorcists. Issei, without saying anything, invoked his 2 twin swords, running towards Kokabiel, taking a great leap that broke the ground, being higher than Kokabiel, dropping himself with his 2 swords, giving him 2 cuts in the cistee, drawing BLD from there, that movement Kokabiel had not done. Seen since Issei's speed is very high. Zenobia, so if he was holding back against me, that he's a DMN. Kino Teresian is strong, he hurt Kokabiel a lot with his 2 swords. Kokabiel is angry because he had managed to damage him by kicking Issei, who returned him to the ground but put his sword on the ground to stop, getting up from the ground with barely any dirt on the ground. Kokabiel, tell who you are. Issei, my name is Issei, but that we are better known as. Amami would go with Issei while standing side by side. She would take out a spear that could be divided into 5 parts for a better attack. Issei/Amami, we are the 02 experiment. Who will end you? Kokabiel, that's impossible. I think Fred was joking with that, but they are real. If we are real. Amami, and we are not dead and we will kill you. Both would quickly go towards Kokabiel, who used the Excalibur to defend himself from the attacks of the 2 brothers, although they still managed to inflict cuts on their bodies. The rest who saw this were amazed by the power that these two had. The Gremory entourage saw this, amazed by the power since they had never shown them all their power. Rias: that's impressive, they never showed us all their power. Zenobia: yes, he always stayed with me. Irina: I told you, Issei always does that, he never hurts anyone he considers his friends. Kokabiel found it difficult to defend himself from the attacks of the two brothers since they were increasingly more precise, and when he could attack one the other always defended him. Some fallen angels tried to attack Issei, but Rias's bag did not allow them to attack the fallen angels. Rias: don't let them mess with Issei and Amami. But the Gremory entourage and the two exorcists fought against the fallen angels, who continued attacking to prevent them from interrupting Issei and Amami. With the two of them, they both continued facing Kokabiel, who already spread his wings further and kicked each of the brothers, who descended to the ground where they stopped with their swords. Amami: hee, what's wrong? You can't beat us, or you're very weak for being a high-ranking fallen angel, hee. Issei: stop it, Amami, don't make fun of him, let's just finish it, and that's it. Kokabiel became more and more angry at the insults and mockery of the two brothers until Fred attacked the two, but Amami intervened with his spear, a crimson-red spear. Fred: that spear is not normal, or is it? Amami: let's say something like that more if he uses his true power, hee. Fred: I should have been careful with that spear, it's not normal. Amami would face Fred, who used two Excalibur. One was Excalibur Destruction and Excalibur Duranball. Issei faced Kokabiel, but now Zenobia helped him with the appearance with which he faced Issei. Zenobia: and tell me how we're going to get him out of there, fighting in the sky gives us a disadvantage. Issei: I know, that's why we will attack him with all our power of the Excalibur, are you ready? Zenobia: I will always be. Both of them would charge their most powerful attacks, the attacks they used in their fight. Issei, his Excalibur Morgan, brought out the dark and reddish energy, while with Zenobia she drew golden energy from her Excalibur. Kokabiel saw this and instinctively put the Excalibur to defend himself, which caused him to also take away the ones that Fred had, leaving him vulnerable, hitting Amami's spear squarely in the heart of the street exorcist, killing them. Issei: Excalibur Morgan. Zenobia: Excalibur. Both attacks were towards Kokabiel, who in vain could not defend himself, giving him the techniques of both, generating a huge explanation, destroying the Excalibur that Kokabiel had. The smoke cleared from the place of impact, seeing a very injured Kokabiel who could not move from his place to avoid falling fainting. All the fallen angels who accompanied him had been eliminated by the Gremory, Irina and Amami entourage, who with his spear. Kokabiel: it's not possible that I can't lose. That's enough, that you lost. Zenobia: you will pay for making us eliminate the Excalibur and steal them. Voice: that will not be necessary. Kokabiel recognized the voice. Looking back, seeing in the sky that it was night, there was already a figure of someone in white armor with blue gems on his hands and legs. Kokabiel: it can't be. What are you doing here? Voice: I come to make you pay for your crimes, Kokabiel. Kokabiel would try to escape from there, but the person in the armor would not let him, constantly attacking him without letting him move, leaving him even more devastated and ending his laughs. You had to hiss that Hakuyu. Voice: but she is the current security. Dagged. Hello Blanco, when time. Albion: now is not the time. Red. Your partner and mine will attend to their matters later. Drained. It seems so. Voice: see you later, Iasikuin. The person in the armor would leave through a magical circle, disappearing from there and leaving Issei with questions about how the Hakuryuku knows him, and that voice seems similar to him, but he didn't know where since it was somewhat distorted. In the distance, in an unknown place, the same person was seen in his armor leaving the magic circle and his armor disappearing, showing a white-haired girl being Valerie. Valerie: if that demon Kokabiel had hurt Iasikuin, I would have killed him right then and there, but he showed me how strong he is. Iasikuin, every day I fall more in love with you. I want to see how strong they will be, our babies. Chapter 7. A Wedding. It had been 5 days since they had defeated Kokabiel. Zenobia had joined the Gremory entourage. Irina was still in the church, but to get answers from everyone, and she would change that place. Now everyone was in the old academy building, looking at some papers until a circle that Rias recognized instantly, a woman with white, somewhat gray hair in a maid's outfit, came out. Rias, Grafia-sen, what are you doing here? Grafia, Riasama, it's time. Rias, I already told you that I'm not going to get married, not even if I'm dead. Married out, what is that? Akino, you see, Issei-kun, getting married is when two people who love each other decide to join their lives in a marriage. Rias, well, it seems that the president doesn't like that. Grafia, this young boy who is Riasama. Rias, they are from my entourage. The two of them are Issei and Amami. They are brothers. She is Zenobia the fourth. Note here, I already put Zenobia in the entourage. I know it's after Issei cancelled Rias' marriage, but I already wanted to put her in the story, so that's how it will stay. Grafia, so the two of them are the experiment believed to be destroyed 02. It's a pleasure, Issei-sama, Amami-sama. Both brothers greeted the woman, and before they resumed what they were talking about, a magic circle that Issei did not recognize appeared in the video building, leaving a tall man with blonde hair and a red suit. Grafia, young Riser, I told you to wait. Riser, I can't come see my wife. Rias, I already told you that I will never marry you, besides I already love someone. Those of the Gremory entourage smiled. They already knew who Rias was referring to, looking at Issei, who only because of the looks of his friends and the look that Rias gave him, Rias blushed, being the first time he had done so. Amami, while little brother, you are a Casa Nova Fufu. Akino, era I can't stay behind with my kohai, right Isun. Diba, come on Issei-kun. Kaneko, senpai atrevido. Rainer, I don't plan to stay behind. Issei blushed more at what his friends said. Riser, who saw this, already knew who Rias was talking about, although he laughed with an air of superiority. Why only Issei was a low-class demon? Rias, seeing how distracted Riser is, went towards Issei, taking him by the hand, sitting on the chair that was there and putting Issei in his position, an act that Issei didn't know how to do and just prepared to stay there. Riser, enough Rias, you are my fiancé. Rias, and I already told you that I am not going to marry you. If there is someone I am going to marry, it is Issei. Grafia, Riasama, it's not time for you to act like a girl if you marry young Riser, that's what your sister decided. Rias, I don't care if it was my Onisama's order, I won't. Riser, then I challenge you to a Reitin game. If you win we will annul the marriage, and if I win you will marry me. Issei, I don't think it's fair to use a game to annul the president's marriage, but if she wants to fight I'll fight. Rias, well, it's already decided, we will play the Reitin game. Grafia, well, having decided, I will tell your brother Riasama, the Reitin game will be in 2 weeks. Riser, hee but look what you will face Rias. Riser snapped his fingers, a larger magic circle appearing from which many women came out, including Riser's sister named Ravel Phoenix. Issei, you are sick to include your sister in your HR. Riser, don't see me, it was she who wanted to. Kino, era we are at a disadvantage for Paisa's Rias. Rias, I know but I have confidence in Issei, Amami and Rainer and also in all of you, so we must train. Undershimri, High President. Thus, Riser's entourage left, as did Grafia, leaving the Gremory entourage alone again, although now they seemed to see a somewhat uncomfortable silence on the part of Rias and Issei, who was without saying anything, left the room, being Kiba and Asia. Kiba, Issei-kun espera. Isen waits. Akino, Rainer, Zenobia and Kaneko stayed with Rias. Amami had disappeared as always, although it was no surprise that she had also gone with Issei. Akino, Rias, don't you think you were very quick to say it? Rias, yes I know. But what I would have done was the first thing that occurred to me, and I don't want Issei to think that I'm stupid or something like that. I don't know what to do. Akino, come on Rias, I don't think I thinks that about you, he must just be surprised. Rain, Akino, you are right, although I will tell you something Rias, I am not going to stay behind you. Akino, era me neither. Zenobia, neither would they go nor do I plan to stay behind. Kaneko, senpai really has them crazy. With Kiba, Asia and Amami. The three of them were looking for Issei and finding him outside the academy in the park where he knew Rainer. Issei was on the bench deep in thought, when what Rias said came to his mind again. If there is someone I'm going to meet with marrying will be Issei. That phrase did not leave his head making a mess, until he saw that Kiba, Asia and his sister were getting married. Kiba, are you okay Issei-kun? Issei, Erara yes I'm fine, I don't know I'm not fine, I don't know what to think, what the president told me was sudden. Asia? Yes, the most appealing girl instinctively tells you that she wants to marry you if it's too much. Amami, Asia-chan you don't help. Asia, I'm sorry but I wanted to make my point clear. Issei, now it doesn't matter that, we must help the president with her marriage. Everyone agreed, and returned to the living room where everyone was, but Issei's discomfort with Rias and Rias's nervousness about what he said to Issei could still be seen. Rias, well we will go to hell so we can train better and that Issei, Amami and Zenobia don't hold back so it will be better for a better strategy and Riser doesn't know how strong you three are. Zenobia, that's true. Amami, if it's true I could also finish him off with my spear. Issei, sister, you can't do that. Or if you can. Akino, it's not possible but it would be nice. Fufufu. Rias Arya a magic circle teleporting everyone to hell in Den they could start training. Rias had contacted Grafia to help him in the training. As for Issei and Amami since he did not know if they could increase their power more he called a dragon with the purple scales are golden and are enormous. Rias, guys I want to introduce you to Tannen, he will be the one who trains Issei, Amami, Zenobia and Rainer. The rest of us will help Grafia since she is the strongest piece of Onisama. Issei, un gusto Tannen-san. Tannen, so you two are 02, although I don't feel like you can increase your power more, this will help you spend less energy when fighting in prolonged battles, although I can also teach you Dragon Slayer magic. Amami, Dragon Slayer what is that? Tannen, it is a very old magic, but very powerful, there are only 2 users of this magic, although if you learn it there would be 6 users of Dragon Slayer magic. Issei, I don't know if Amami and I can, maybe Zenobia is a demon, but Amami and I are part machine so I don't know if it can be done. Tiny, well we won't know if we don't try. Amami Tannen-san you are right we should see if we can do it. Zenobia, I want to learn that magic, I could use it when I fight although I am more into swords than fists. Issei, I can fight with both, I also have implanted all the martial arts that exist so it would be good for me to do more damage, although I want to know who the 2 users are. Tannen, I don't know. My brothers didn't tell me anything but it seems like they are strong. Amami, brothers? Ahi more dragons like you. Tannen, if each one handles a specific element, my 2 older brothers handle wind and ice, I handle hellfire, my 3 younger sisters handle water, another handles lightning, and the last one handles shadows. Zenobia, wow, they almost use natural elements and the shadows, that's surprising. Tannen, if you, Zenobia will go with my sister, the lightning will be better for you, Amami will go with my water sister, Issei, you will stay with me, Rainer, you will go with my sister who handles the shadows. Rainer hi. Zenobia hi. Say, well when we start with this. Tannen, they would start today. Tannen would have Zenobia, Amami and Rainer disappear in a magic circle, leaving Issei and the dragon alone. Tannen, well it's time to start with this. Issei, okay, although I have to tell you something. Tannen, and what would that be? Issei, I can also use ice, but it is not magic, it is thanks to my mother's BLD that is in my body, she uses something called Taigu that I believe are powerful weapons that a king created. Tannen was surprised by what Issei said, recognizing what he said because in hell there is a lot of talk about the Tigus and 2 in particular, one Taigu that is capable of using ice on its user and the other is the sword armor raid. Those 2 are the most talked about by the demons wanting to possess them. Valerie. Valerie was watching Issei as he trained with the dragon in some mountains. She looked at her hand where cold steam began to come out, and an ice dagger appeared. Valerie, it seems we have more in common, you will also be a dragon slayer like me and my brother. Valerie had heard what Issei said thanks to her armor but she did not hear what Acer Ice said like her. Behind them was a tall young man with white hair like her, with a true shirt and a black jacket like his breathes. Valley, so he is 0 and his sister who left is 2. Valerie, if her name is Issei, I don't know what her sister's name is but they seem to be very close. Val, you will be jealous just because of his sister, although you shouldn't since they are brothers, although she is very close to him, something may have happened to them to be like that. Valerie did not say anything to what his brother said since they were not as close as Issei and Amami were. Valerie, Issei, I would like to face you and be able to have very strong children, hehe. Valerie, you've already started to be delirious again, really? Valerie, shut up, brother nosy. Valerie would still kick Valle, sending him flying towards some rocks that were there. In the training that Issei would have to emissar an ancient magic to kill dragons, Tannen was in front of Issei who, with his normal clothes, was holding the dragon in a battle that he had lost since the dragon was stronger than him. Tannen, don't tell me that's all you can do. Issei, ha no, it's not all, now you'll see. Issei attacked Tannen again, who only dodged the black-haired man's attacks. It occurred to Issei to increase his speed further by approaching behind the dragon, who realized that he hit Issei with his tail against the ground. With the rest, they were not doing any better. With Rias, Akino, Kiba, Asia and Kaneko they worked, but since Grafia trained them too strong they could barely move, but this would serve to further increase their power. Rias, I wonder how Issei and the rest are doing. Akino, maybe worse than us that they are trained by dragons. Kiba, the president behind you. Rias had received a kick on her sword, making her fall to the ground, being helped by her best friend Akino. Rias, Agdiman, that hurt. Akino, you're fine. Rias, if I'm fine, we should continue. Grafia, it's not good to be distracted thinking about your boyfriend. Rias had blushed a lot at what Grafia said, causing a small laugh from Kiba, which he couldn't help, but Akino felt jealous since she wasn't considered Issei's partner but she wanted to be. Akino, I also want to be Issei-kun's girlfriend, he is my kohai. Devulito with Issei. 2 hours of their training had passed, although Issei wanted to go see how the rest were doing. Tannen told him that it was better not to, since he will be there 2 weeks before the Reitin game. Issei accepted in a bad way. Issei, it's kind of boring being here that now I have time to think about what Rias told her, she wants to marry me. Issei couldn't help but think about him and her at a wedding, causing him to blush. His blush would deepen when he also saw Akino, his best childhood friend Irina, even Zenobia and Rainier in a wedding dress, increasing his blush even more. Smoke out of ears. Issei did not know that someone was looking at him near where the Pozizan was with a smile on his face. The woman named Valerie looked at him with some curiosity since she had seen how he blushed a lot and wanted to know why. Valerie, Issei, Valerie, what are you doing here? Valerie, well, what do I tell you, I'm also a demon. Issei, that makes sense, but what I mean is how did you know I was here? Valerie, bueno. Issei, you were following me, right? Valerie pouted when she was discovered, putting her hands in the shape of stories on her head as a mockery and getting up, grabbing Issei's hand to run away. Valerie, come on, I want to show you something. Issei, look it out, let's go. Valerie would take Issei to a kind of hill where you could see a lot of the kingdom of the Demonos. Issei could also see his friends Rias, Akino, Kiba, Kaneko and Asia how they trained. Issei saw everyone more than Rias and Akino. What he didn't know was what he felt for them. Rias was another of the people who had accepted him without keeping in mind that it was an experiment, like Akino who gave him love, his mother. Isteth also loved him like his sister. But Akino was a more loving affection, not like that of a mother or sister. What Rias and Akino made him feel was different, and he also felt very comfortable with Rias because she was his first friend, and Zenobia, even though she had different ideals, they got along well. In addition to the fact that Zenobia enjoyed being with Issei since they were both users of Excalibur and Rainier who at first seemed someone mysterious, they got along well since she was also his friend from Niles or when Issei was in the capsule. Issei grabs his head to get rid of those thoughts. He would have time to see what he felt for each one. Valerie saw this and was worried about Issei's strange behavior. Valerie, that's it. You're fine. Issei, yes, I'm fine, don't worry, hehe. Valerie, don't lie to me. Issei, okay, what would happen if someone you love very much told you that they wanted to marry you? Valerie, well, I wouldn't know what to tell the truth. I think it would take me by surprise, but if it's someone dear to you and you feel something for that person, I think I would accept. Issei, I see that hehe, I think I'm in trouble, but thanks, Valerie. Valerie, like in trouble, someone told you that, right? Issei, yes, the truth is I don't know whether to accept what she told me or not. I love her very much. She and my friends have accepted us, so I think it would be a good way to repay her not to believe hehe. Issei couldn't help but smile when he thought how Rias would look when he told him that if he agreed to marry her, although he thought that the other girls would be a little upset and his sister would make fun of him a lot. Valerie, see, someone told you that's true. Issei? Yes, although I didn't know how to react, I was caught off guard by what she told me. Valerie, I see, Rias was ahead of me, I was going to lose Azazel to tell the Mao to get engaged to Issei, you're fine that you stayed, we thought. Valerie. Valerie, hey, if I'm fine, don't worry. Issei, I want to tell you something. If I told you something about myself, we would still be friends. Yes, we would still be friends. Valerie, okay. I didn't think this was more difficult. Well, that I really don't know how to tell you. My full name is Valerie Lucifer. Lucifer, I think I've heard it before, but I don't know. Then what does that have to do with it? Valerie was surprised since many demons only approached her because of her last name, being beaten by Valif for trying to take advantage of her sister by having the last name of Lucifer. Many expect a lot from her and Vale. They say, that was all you wanted to tell me, Valerie. Valerie, hey, that's all. Don't say anything else. The last name Lucifer doesn't make you feel anything. You're also a demon, no? Issei, I'm a reincarnate, so I don't know much about the terms. Valerie, but it was said that Experiment 02 is a demon. Issei, that's what the president said to her brother, so I think it's more the Mao's fault, huh? Valerie was surprised. It was rumored that Zero is a demon, but she didn't think that Issei was a reincarnate, although she saw it coming since the rumor was very suspicious. Now that Valerie confirmed it, she is calmer. Valerie wanted to continue talking to Issei, but Tannen was already talking to him to continue his training, so Issei would get away from Valerie and go to where Tannen was. Valerie watched as Issei left, standing up from there and manifesting his Ice Dragon Slayer magic again, making a snow cap, looking at him with a smile on his face, being interrupted by Vale. Vale, sister, are you sure of that? Although he is reincarnated, his MDs may try to use you like they have tried to use us. Valerie, I don't think he is capable of that except Rias. She and I have our rivalry now, one more that will be Isei's love. Vale, sister, there is always rivalry. They always had it as children, even more so when they discovered that they were the current Sekyuudai and Hakuryuku, but well, that's their thing. Both brothers would disappear in a magical circle, leaving there. Issei continued training more and more. Now it was his turn to be able to use the fire of hell, but this fire was very difficult to control if you were not a beast of hell like Tannen, who was still a dragon from there. First week and 3 days of the second week. Issei and the rest of the girls who were learning the Dragon Slayer Magai, having finished their physical training, should now be able to handle magic to use the elements. Zenovia's child. She had been able to manifest lightning in her hands and throw them like Akino does, or use them on her legs to run long distances in a short time, in addition to improving in swordsmanship. With Love Me. With her crimson spear she could handle water by launching jets of water from the spear, as well as with her fingers shoot bullets of compressed water, and with her spear when she hit it with the ground she generated a tide of waves everywhere. With Rainer. With her Liz spear, she had been able to make shadow spears by combining both weapons and generating a spear of dark light that could harm both angels and demons, in addition to being able to hide in the shadows and come out at another point with shadow. He manifested the fire of hell in his 2 hands. The fire was purple like Issei's eyes with crimson edges like Rias' hair, plus Issei could shape them like lightning or wrap his hands in claws. For more damage, he also implements his fire in his 2 twin short swords, being able to shoot fire from them and with his hands. Rias. She had improved in her power of destruction, as well as improving her punch fighting and using her booster gear armor better, in addition to increasing her power and making Draig like Issei. Kanekino. She greatly improved her lightning attacks in addition to gaining more strength than she already had and increased her taste for torture. With Asia. She had been told about her Saker gear, her earrings that could have a bonds break it, so she set out to try to unlock her armor. With Kiba. He had improved his use of the sword, and with 2 swords as Issei, leaving aside his revenge since the Excalibur had been destroyed, only Issei and Zenovia's remained. Kaneko. He had improved his strength, gained more of the already enormous strength he had. In addition to being able to turn into a small cat that was on Asia's head, he had also improved his senses. Note, Rias had told Issei and Amami Rainier Zenobia that Kaneko is a Nikomata. Thus, the entourage or part of it had improved their skills thanks to Grafia's help, although she would not say anything to Rias's parents since she did not like the idea of them compromising Rias without her permission. In addition, Grafia was liking Issei and possibly her husband, Rias's brother, would also like him, although it could also be that Rias's parents liked him and made them change. 4 days after training, the Grammary entourage had returned for the Reitin game. Now they were in the club of the old building, where each one felt the increase in each other's power plus that of Issei, Amami, Zenobia and Rainier. Now Issei had somewhat longer hair having to be tied at the back in a short ponytail, as well as Amami who now had 2 low ponytails. With Zenobia she also had longer hair although not so much being tied in a ponytail. With Rainier her hair was longer than she had, being tied at the end of her hair. The rest of the Grammary entourage also had their hair grown. Kiba had a ponytail like Issei's, Asia had her hair a little longer, with Kaneko she had normal hair since she cut it, with Akino her ponytail was a little longer, with Rias she also had long hair although not so much. Rias, it seems like you guys increased your power more. Kino, Era if now you feel a stronger air in you. Zenobia, yes, but facing those dragons was a lot. Issei, yes, but the good thing is that we won this ancient magic. Before continuing speaking, a magic circle of the Grammary had appeared in the room, and Grafia appeared again, who took everyone to where the Reitin game would be, being a copy of the Kuo Academy, but the sky was different since it was green. Rias, this is the plan. Kiba, someone from Riser's pieces you will attack with. Lightning. Akino, I will have a lot of fun with them. Fufufu. The rest, Essentio taking their places, although Issei, wanting to avoid any of Riser's pieces, would go through the forest. There was the student council room where Riser's faces were. Note, I don't know what the Riser pieces are called, I only know the 2 that are the twins and the purple-haired one. In the distance, Yubaluna could be seen, along with Kira and her twin sister, who were watching Rias's entourage. Yubaluna would go for Akino, Kira, and they would go for Kiba and Zenobia. Issei walked through the forest undetected, although some of Riser's pawns had seen Issei, so they tried to attack him but were knocked down by surprise by a small cat with black fur and 2 tails. Siti Gracias Kuro. The cat with the name Juro meowed at Issei, disappearing and appearing in Issei's head, who continued running towards the student council room, being watched by Riser's towers and knights but being finished off by Issei. With Kiba and Zenobia. He was outside the old building, with his sword in his hand, although Zenobia had made her Excalibur disappear with a trick that the lightning dragon taught her, with her armor on and her sword with the tip on the ground. Zenobia. Zenobia, yes I know, some really girls arrived. In front of them was Kira and the others who had their chainsaws active, looking seriously at the 2 knights who put their swords in front of the 2 twins. Kiba, they either want to start or they will give up. Zenobia, I suggest you give up. Both sisters got angry with them, going to attack them both, but Kiba and Zenobia would separate to fight one of them. Kira would go against Zenobia and I would go towards Kiba, who with their chainsaws would try to cut them both, but both brandishing their swords would deflect the attack of the 2 girls. Zenobia and Kiba had knocked down the 2 sisters, who disappeared when they were taken out of the Reitin game. Now only the 2 blades and Yubaluna remained, who was in front of Akino, who she saw with a smile on her face. Yubaluna, are you going to give up or I will have to take you out? Akino, Era no Creo Fufumi entertain contigo. Yubaluna would attack Akino with magic, but she would rise to the sky with her wings where her entire body would shoot out lightning. Akino would raise her hand in the sky where many clouds of lightning would come out where her hand descended, attacking your Yubaluna with lightning, who received the entire attack, leaving her very devastated. Yubaluna, how did I it possible? Kino, I always enjoy causing damage that is very successful. Akino would attack her again with lightning, causing more damage to Yubaluna, who left because she was already unconscious. Akino would go with Rias to protect them since they did not know that Issei had killed almost everyone. Amami was at the top of the club with her spear and water. Around her, Asia, I hope Issei-san is okay. Kino, he will be fine, he is very strong, he is stronger now. Rainier, and you're right, he is very strong now, he may have finished the rest. Everyone who was there knew that Rainier was right, Now only Riser would be left. Kan Issei y Kuro. Issei and his cat were heading towards Riser, but they would be stopped by Riser's 2 remaining sharpshooters. They were upset since Issei had killed almost all of them. They would try to attack Issei with spells of magic, but Kuro would go towards the 2 of them, kicking them with his small cat paws, crashing them against the walls, leaving them unconscious. Issei, well, Kuro, I'll leave you too, one of them is still conscious. Kuro stayed there and Issei went with Riser without knowing that his friends were coming to help him. Issei was at the entrance to the student council room where he had to dodge a fire attack from Riser who was behind the door. Riser, UDMN1 is going to pay me. Come on, bird, that's all you have. Close. Issei had dodged a blow from Riser's fist wrapped in fire until they reached the academy roof, where each of them was in a corner of the roof looking at each other defiantly in Riser's case and serious in Issei's gaze. Riser looked at Issei, extending his hand and attacking Issei with fire, who dodged every attack from the Phoenix Sword until Issei took out purple fire from his hands, neutralizing Riser's fire. Riser, that fire that it can't be. Issei, if I am the Hellfire Dragon Slayer, that now let's end this. Before Issei could do anything, his body began to palpitate and tremble constantly. Riser, who saw this, tried to attack Issei, but a stream of water saw a girl with light blue hair with a crimson spear in her hand. Riser, you are the sister of this lower class. When I sell you, I will implement you into my HR. Disgusting, you are someone despicable. All of the Gremory entourage looking and trying to help Issei, who was clutching his head, and they all watched as Issei's hair went from black to white, somewhat gray, surprising everyone who saw Issei. Rias, I know what's wrong with you. Amami, Rias is useless. Her body is changing from the demon's sword to the angelic sword. Rias and the challenge were amazed. They remembered when Issei took out those 2 swords, one white and the other black. Akino, what do you mean by that? And why would the swords affect Issei? Amami, when Issei, before having black hair, we had found those 2 swords. Some criminals tried to kidnap us, but Issei killed one with the demon sword while I had the angelic one. When they experimented with the sword on us, it worked on Issei, causing him a lot of pain, when Dad attached the angelic sword to him, causing him to neutralize himself. But he notices that now the sword is not with him. Everyone was worried about Issei while Amami distracted Riser. Everyone saw a black cat with 2 tails, which extended its towards Issei, touching him, making his hair stay with the top of his hair with white tips. Phew, now you can rest easy. The cat spoke, surprising everyone since Kaneko could turn into a cat but she couldn't speak. Rias, who are you? Riser looked seriously at Amami, who with her spear in both hands did not let the Phoenix Sword attack Issei, who lay on the ground with his hair changed, although he returned to black hair color, leaving aside the white parts he has gone. Amami rushed at Riser with her spear to attack him, but he would launch a fireball from his hands, making Amami have to dodge the blonde's attack. Riser, wow, you are good, you will be a great addition to my HRM. Amami, I repeat, he doesn't care about your HRM, you're just someone who's sick enough to put on your own sister. Amami rushed once again towards Riser, who had to dodge the attacks of Amami's crimson spear. The girls watched as Amami faced Riser. Kiba is in front of her in case Riser thought of something. Issei was still on the ground where next to him was Rias, Akino, Zenobia, Asia, Kaneko and Kuro, who the cat saw Issei something would be. You better wake up now. Kuro would put his paw on Issei's forehead where he would try to shine. Amami continued trying to hit Riser with her spear, but he only retreated, avoiding contact with the spear. Amami's spear began to shine like her, where the spear would split into 2 parts. The cut part would take out another edge as if it were a smaller spear. Amami would again launch herself towards Riser, where she would cause some cuts on his arms, legs and Zt. Riser would attack Amami with his fire, not hitting the target. Thanks to the agility that Amami had, although in a decision by Amami where he was distracted. See how her brother Riser took the opportunity to hit her with his fire, knocking her down. Riser would approach Amami trying to hit the blonette, only that the blow did not arrive. Riser was impressed by Amami's speed, only that he would see black feathers falling from the sky. Rias, intuiting that it was Rainier who saved Amami, looks back in where she was looking up with a look of amazement. Everyone looked at the sky where they saw a black-haired young man, this being Issei, but unlike this one, the place where his demon wings were. He had the 4th wings of an angel, his wings being black. His wings looked like those of a demon as they were pointed at the top. Imagine that there are 4 wings. They all looked towards where Issei was a moment ago, seeing that he was not looking back, seeing Issei behind them with Amami in his arms and with the same look of amazement that the rest had. Amami, Issei ke pasodi. It's time to wake up, Nachon. Amami began to shine, where on her back she took on those of a demon, changing to those of an angel, her wings being equally black and also being 4, the top wings being the largest and the bottom ones being a little smaller. Imagine you have the other wing. Amami, how good it feels to use your power. Or well, the power of swords. Akino, Amami, what do you mean? Amami, what do I mean? Well, remember the double swords that Issei has, right? Everyone nodded, smaller Riser who didn't know. Amami, well, those swords were given to the first King Demino and the biblical god. The swords were believed to be lost or legend, but Issei has them, and now it seems that Issei's body adapted to the swords. Rias, but that doesn't explain why you also have wings. Amami's Issei's body is not prepared to use all the power, so, being his sister, I used the mutual power of the demonic sword. Issei should really have 10 wings, but 4 is more than enough. Issei, then we will explain more details, guys. Now we have to want this Amami. You stay with them, Kuro come. The cat went to Issei's head where they could talk more privately. Issei, when this is over, you will tell me why you don't show your true form. Kuro, if that's okay, now I'll go with the others. I don't want to be part of the madness you're going through. Issei just smiled watching how Kuro ran away with the girls. Issei now looked at Riser, who was nervous about Issei's new form, but he didn't care about this, attacking Issei with a large fireball but being disposed of with a flap of his wings. By Issei. The tips of Issei's hair were white since he also used some of the power of the angelic sword. The Riser looked at Issei, trying to analyze his movements, taking into account now that Issei had the wings of a fallen angel and that did not owe him a good feeling. Riser, I don't know what happened to you, but don't think you can beat me. You are a low-class demon. Issei, if Rongos matter to the Deminos, I really don't care. I'll just tell you something. I'll beat you and cancel Rias's marriage to you. Rias, upon hearing what Issei was saying, would turn my face red, and Akino. Issei spread his wings, taking off into the sky, where Riser did the same, taking out his demon wings. Issei, bad decision. Come to my sword, twins. Again the 2 swords appeared in his 2 hands, where he threw them towards Riser, who dodged them. Riser, where are you pointing, idiot? See, the 2 swords turned around, cutting part of Riser's back. That was the moment where Issei took advantage and hit him in the face, crashing him to the ground. Issei would come down in front of Riser, where Issei tried to hit Issei. Issei, original by Issei, triple tiger kicks. Issei will tell him 3 consecutive kicks without Riser being able to even see the movements, since the weapons were just a trick to hit him with what he had in mind. Amami, wow, it seems that her power in martial arts is much stronger than it was before. Irina is going to be angry to know that Issei surpasses her in that. Rias, if Issei was already strong, now with the unleashed power of the swords he is even stronger. It is surprising. Amami, we owe it to our teacher. She trained us to be good at martial arts, plus she wanted her techniques to still live in us. Akino, Era, it seems like they love their teacher a lot, right? Yes, she is like other sisters to us. Rainier, I think that once she came to the church when what happened to her mother happened, those from the church did not let her pass. They told her that you 2 had died along with her. Zenobia, maybe they did it so she wouldn't see what they did to you too. Maybe they are right. This fight is over. They all saw how Riser fell to the ground again. They all saw Issei descend with his wings spread, but he would fall to the ground on his back, being helped by everyone, seeing that Issei only fell asleep. Graphia, the winner of the Rayton game is Rias Gremory and her entourage. Asia, we won. Rias, Rias, yes. Although Issei was really the one who won, he kept his promise and freed me from that marriage. Rias looked at Issei in a loving and affectionate way, placing a hand in his hair, caressing him, having his head in her water, although they saw how Issei and Amami's wings disappeared, where Amami also fell to the ground asleep, although it was different since her body was started to rejuvenate and look more like a middle school girl and no longer from Kuo High School. Rainer, Amami, you're fine, answered what a relief, she's just asleep or something similar though why did she get younger? But Issei remains normal. Grafia, it would be better to take them home so they can be treated there. Zenobia, if it would be better to ask Esteth what happened to Amami and Issei. Now there are many more questions. Rias, if you're right we should go with Esteth-san. Grafia-san please. Grafia Essentio appearing a magic circle below everyone arriving at Issei's house where everyone entered seeing Esteth worried. Issei, Amami that they took out their wings right. Aquino, yes, but I still don't understand much about why his swords are the cause of this. Esteth, when Issei was still in the capsule, those from the church had informed that Issei's body, when he turned 16, the twin swords inside him would have to work with his body, although it seems that it would also work with Amami, but she at the same time not having them internally only manifested itself as a rejuvenation in his case. Rias, but why was Amami rejuvenated by swords? If Issei and Amami, being BLD brothers, their bodies are not yet developed enough to use all the power of the swords, so their bodies would manifest it with their wings. With Issei it would be part of their hair that would be white and Amami a rejuvenation that I didn't think it would be today. Esteth would take, with the help of the girls, Issei and Amami to their rooms where they would let them rest. Until they woke up everyone would go down to the room where Kaneko and Kiba said goodbye because they would let Issei and Amami rest well. Esteth, now we just have to wait until their bodies finish changing since apparently Issei didn't let that happen and now they have to wait. In Issei's home. He was asleep being watched by Rias, Aquino, Zenobia and Rainer. Asia after all was very tired so she was asleep in her room, each of them had reached the ground but they wanted to be there. Issei only that their bodies were thirsty. To sleep. After 5 a.m., Issei woke up seeing that he was in his room, getting up and looking around, feeling a can in his hand, observing that in his hand were the hands of Rias, Aquino, Zenobia and Rainer, which earned a smile on Issei's face, who he calmly took his hand out of there and got out of bed. Issei would carry the girls, leaving them in their bed so they could sleep better seeing that Kuro was looking at him at his window. Kuro, so you already woke up Inaya? Say, what happened? We won, everything is very confusing. Kuro, if you destroyed Riser completely as Inaya he. Issei, your way of speaking is different. Now I remember, I told you that we would talk later. Kuro, yes it is true and what do you want to talk about Naya? Issei, why don't you show your true form, you are a Nikomata just like Kaneko, right? Kuro hihi, you haven't missed anything, Cise Naya. Kuro's body would start to shine, appearing a girl with a fairly developed body, lying on top of a black kimono with a red color inside. The kimono made her figure stand out more, leaving a very open neckline going down her shoulders. At her waist they had a golden band below that band behind them they had 3 somewhat large golden spheres. The kimono left her legs uncovered. Her hair was black like Issei's but she had ears of cat and its golden wet eyes. Kuroka, my real name is Kuroka and yes I am also a Nikomata like my little sister. Just don't tell her okay we are not on good terms now. Issei, okay so your name is Kuroka hihi I called you Kuro why is it black in Japanese hihi? Kuroka, if you almost guessed my name as Inaya, now I want to tell you something. Let's have kittens. Kuroka moved into Issei's arms and on impulse he caught her, letting Kuroka end up giving her an embrace on the lips, where after that she liked her cheek. Kuroka, you know well, I like it if it's decided we're going to have kittens. Issei, you want to have to. Kuroka kittens or as you would say babies I want to have your babies Ise Naya Gigi. Issei, I really don't know if I can have children. I'm part machine or something like that. The truth is I don't know what I am anymore. Why biological father was experimenting with me and my sister. I don't know if everything my dad did to us can have children. Kuroka, we won't know if we don't try no. Kuroka would try to cling to Issei's body where she would embrace him again on his lips. Issei didn't know what to do since Valerie had embraced him on the lips like that but Kuroka did it with more intensity. Kuroka would try to lower her hand along Issei's crotch. Say but he separates. Sorry it's just that. I still don't feel ready. But I promise you that if we do it, I just want to know if I can have children and look for my father for more answers. Kuroka was happy because of what Issei said. Kuroka, I'll wait for you when this is over but first. Kuroka would embrace him again, where she enjoyed it since seeing Issei's power fascinated her so much that it made her fall in love for the first time in her life. The embrace would end where Kuroka would take Issei to bed, staying in the middle. Of Rias and Aquino, Zenobia was above them and Rainier was left hugging Aquino. Kuroka would stay on Issei's settee where she would fall asleep with a smile on her face. The next morning, Issei would be opening his eyes, seeing that it was already morning. Trying to move, he saw that his arms were trapped between Rias and Aquino's bus, plus part of them were in the crotch of both girls. Issei tried to move his hand where a sound was heard. Weakly his hand was on Rainier's crotch. Issei saw that Kuroka was asleep on his settee where her legs were wrapped around his. Zenobia had her brs on Issei's head. Issei's situation was not good because if his mother or sister saw him like that, she would not stop bothering him with it, in addition to having to explain about Kuroka, and it was better to avoid his sister's teasing. And mother, Issei can get out of there carrying Kuroka, who moved a lot when sleeping, but I can make Kuroka be in her cat form where he placed her on top of his head so that by fate she wouldn't fall out of there. Going down to the kitchen looking at her mother and sisters very calm, which worried Issei since he knew that look. Isteth, good morning son. How did you sleep, Fufufu? Amami, it seems like you slept well, little brother. Issei, or they didn't really see it. Be good morning, mama mommy. Sif, son, if you're going to do it, use protection. Say mommy please. Isteth and Amami laughed at Issei's face, which was very red, since even though he didn't admit it, he had impulses to touch the girls' brs. But if he did, they would see him as a pervert and it was better not to. Kuroka woke up seeing that she was in Issei's head and she liked that a lot. Issei would go to wake up the girls who were in her room seeing that they were already awake, going down to have breakfast to go to the academy. On the way to the academy, everyone was wearing their uniforms, but Issei had his jacket on top of his uniform shirt, just like Amami who was wearing his jacket, but it was on his waist. Entering the academy, everyone saw Issei being accompanied by the one-sama of the academy Rias and Aquino, although also by those who would also be the new one-sama Zenobia and Rainier. At the entrance to the academy, Valerie was waiting for someone. Seeing Issei where he arrived with Rias, Aquino, Zenobia and Rainier, to her surprise Kuroka also came in her cat form on Issei's head. Issei would notice Valerie who was at the entrance, so he approached it. Issei, hola Valerie. Valerie, hello Issei. Before he continued speaking, Valerie would have two swords near his neck. These were Kiba and Zenobia, thus surprising Issei because his friends became angry with her. Issei, hey, what are you doing? Rias, Issei, before Kokabiel arrived, was going to tell you something about your friend, that she is the Hakuryuku and as you know, I am the Sekyudai. Both of us must face each other due to the rivalry of the dragons. Valerie, you had no right to say it, that I had to do it. Issei, hey stop it's really that bad, that's what I'm saying, it's not like you have to kill each other. Or yes. Rias, it can get to that point, but sometimes it's always fights or stupid forka fights. Drake, you said it yourself mate. A true gem would appear in the left hand where the voice shone for the future. Albion, what's up Red, let's fight or I'll prove that I'm the better dragon than you. Valerie, enough Albion, this is not the time, Issei. Issei, you don't have to say anything else, that doesn't mean we can't still be friends or not. Valerie, Issei. Luego, see you, we should go to classes. Issei along with Rias, Aquino, Zenobia, Rainier, Asia and Kiba would enter, and as always the girls from the academy looked at Issei and Kiba, naming Issei as the second prince of the academy. Issei, hey Kiba, how do you put up with this? Kiba, you get used to it Issei-kun, then you will see this as if it were something from day to day. Before Kiba continues, everyone saw how Issei's mother was there with a red-haired young man in a tuxedo. Rias, Oni-sama, what are you doing here? Who is that? Aquino, he is Rias's brother. Everyone from the club would go to the old academy building where they could talk more privately. Rias, I see, Asia, Zenobia, I want to introduce you to Surzex, he is my brother and the current Mao and something else you do here, you don't have Mao things to do. Issei, Asia, Zenobia and Amami would be cast alongside the rest of the Gremory entourage. Surzex, come on, so much formality is not necessary, especially from you, since you are my sister's fiancé. Issei/love me. Rias, Oni-sama was not yet the right time to say it. Issei, as promised. Surzex, when you defeated Riser, who was the one who Rias would marry, you defeated her and you became Rias's fiancé Hihi. The air in the place would begin to get cold. Issei and Amami already knew what would happen to them, so they better resign themselves, receiving a blow on the head from Isteth, who was not very happy. Isteth, son, could you tell me how this happened? It was when you weren't home last night, right? Issei mama. Issei, you are right, mom. Before Isteth continued, Surzex continued speaking. Surzex, well, leaving that aside, your question, Rias, is why is the meeting with the parents and if dad also came? Rias, oh, it can't be that they're going to embarrass me. Surzex, don't worry, that's why Issei's mother is also here, she's also here for that reason. Zenobia, it's a pleasure, my name is Zenobia. Surzex, my pleasure, Zenobia, thank you for taking care of my daughter, I hope you continue like this. Zenobia, hi are everything to protect her, don't worry Mr. Satan. Everyone would go to the parent meeting to see how the classes were doing. Isteth saw how Amami did everything well but Issei did almost nothing. That was no surprise since Issei was quite smart and would say that school is a waste of time. Although I saw that his son seemed to open up more to people even though he was still not paying attention, something that caught his attention was his pencil that Issei had in his hand. From one moment to the next, that pencil froze without Issei realizing it. Isteth, that could be he. It seems that if my son has my power, it would be good for me to train him to use it. The parents' meeting was still going on. Now the parents saw how their children were doing physical activities or being in the workshops. Everything was recorded more by Surzex who, with a camera he knows where he got it, recorded his sister Rias everything she did, something that embarrassed herself. The parents enjoyed seeing their children what their life was like at school except Isteth who saw how there was almost nothing. On the other hand, her sister did everything. Although Isteth wanted to freeze her son, she couldn't since everyone would see how he had powers and better to avoid questions or people to be alarmed. Each class passed normally, although there was a group gathered. Isteth was looking for Issei, although it was somewhat difficult since if there was no house adult man trying to place her. Man, hey, would you like to have something? Isteth, I'm sorry, I have a jealous husband and son, so no. Soon Isteth was known throughout the school as the Ice Empress. And those rumors did not go unnoticed by Issei and Amami who knew who they were referring to. Amami, I'll go see mom. Issei, don't worry, I'll go, you stay, you're with your friends. Amami looked around and it was true that if he left he would be rude, it would be better to leave it to his brother. It didn't take long for Issei to find his mother since there was a crowd around him and Issei knew that Isteth would be there. Isteth was trying to get out of there but she couldn't just freeze them and she attacked Issei. Isteth, who Kuin? Isteth ran towards Issei who just stood still, letting Isteth hug him, surprising everyone since the male students looked at each other with eagerness and the male adults only looked at Isteth with lust. Isteth, Mum, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be involved with me and Amami. All of them. Isteth, I'm sorry but it didn't leave me feeling overwhelmed. Let's go. Issei took his mother and was about to leave until Issei turned to look at everyone. Issei, if anyone gets close to my mother or becomes friends with Amami to get to my mother, I will kill them. Everyone was scared since Issei was letting out a lot of murderous intent. Now Issei and Isteth were gone but she would vote to see them. Isteth, I told you I had a jealous son, goodbye. Issei had arrived with Amami and she only laughed at what happened to her mother with the students and some parents. Isteth, it's not funny, I was lost and everyone surrounded me if it weren't for your brother. Amami, I'm sorry it was funny, ouch. Isteth had hit Amami on the head to silence her, which worked now, only Amami was rubbing her head because of the bump that came out. The family was enjoying this time until the question arose. Issei, hey mom, where did dad go? It's been 1 month since he left. Thif, well, he is fixing some problems with other Taigu users. You already know my past and that of his father. Now Tatsumi is the leader of the 9th raid, only that some Taigu were stolen and used to cause terror, so his father is looking for the stolen Taigu. Amami, oh wow, dad is the leader of a great army. Issei, sister, don't say it out loud, they can hear you. Issei was distracted when he saw in the distance Rias, Aquino, Rainer, and Isteth. It seems like my son is in love, Fufu. Amami, Oni-chan, which one do you like, or will you tell me which all of them? Issei, I don't really know. It's confusing. With Rias I feel a lot of warmth and my heart jumps a lot. With Akino I feel happy and she helps me with my emotions. With Ryanair she is my childhood friend and she is very important to me, and she also I feel happy, and with Zenobia it is the same as with Rias, I feel warm with her. Kroka, why conmigo Atinaya? Kuroka came out of Issei's jacket surprising Isteth and a mommy. Issei's black cat would turn into a appealing young man with his kimono. Kuroka, hola soy Kuroka. Sif, wait, then you are the cat that Issei brought the other day. Amami, and here I thought that just by talking it was strange, but this is amazing. Kuroka, hee, I'm amazing in Issei and I will have many kittens Naya. Issei, Kuroka. You told me you wouldn't say it. Kuroka, sorry Naya, but I wanted to tell my future daughter-in-law Gigi. Istif, era that's surprising hee, I didn't know my son was a Casanova fufu. Isteth nudged Issei, but he didn't say anything, being very red with embarrassment, but it was worse since the girls had seen Issei and approached him. Rias, hello Issei, Amami Istessen. Akino, oh what a appealing family they are and I want to be with Issei. Zenobia, hey, me and Irina will be the first to have their children. Reina, it's not fair, I will be the first to be a mother. Rias, and oh why am I Issei's fiancé? All the nearby people who were there went blank since Rias had shouted it at the top of her lungs. Todos, ah? Issei, Rias. Don't say it so loud. Hey, engaged, my son is engaged. Isteth would faint because of what Rias said, and the whole school plus the boys wanted to kill Issei, and more girls were just dying of envy why Rias had one of the princes of the academy, although there were a number who are happy for Rias. Issei would take Isteth home, where the girls also went, as well as Rias's brother and her father, who had also arrived at Issei's house. Zoeticus, it is an honor that you invite us to eat, Lady Isteth. Isteth, enough, I'm not that old, I'm 25. The truth is that if you are quite young. Isteth, thank you son. Isteth slapped her cheek on Issei's face and hurt herself. Isteth, even finding out that her son got engaged to Rias, had taken her by surprise. Isteth likes Rias now, they would be family. Zoeticus, hee, they are very united, right? Sif, yes, when I was able to get Issei out of that capsule I promised myself that I would not let anyone hurt my son, but I know that he is also very strong. Zoeticus, I understand hee, well now we will be family. Rias, Dad. We haven't had the wedding yet. Zoeticus, I'm sorry daughter, but it's true that the wedding hasn't happened yet. What do you think, Issei? Issei, well I don't know, that I still don't really believe all this hee. Rias, if you are not ready yet we can wait. I still want you to meet my whole family. Issei, yes, I would like to meet you all. Akino, if Issei goes I'll go too. Zenobia, Kuroka, it will be fun right Isinaya. Zoeticus, well, they decided at the end of their classes and starting their vacation that they were going to hell. But in the madrugada 3 a.m. Issei was at the window watching the night, thinking about everything that had happened to him, meeting Rias, fighting to free her from her previous marriage, knowing how to make friends with his 2 childhood friends, meeting Asia, Zenobia, Kuroka, even though Issei got married. Makes it nice. Issei was still distracted, not knowing that Rias and Akino were approaching since they did not see Issei in bed. It was customary for them to sleep with Issei like Ryanair and Zenobia. Kuroka was in her cat form on Issei's legs and he is caressing her. Rias, Issei, are you fine? Issei, Edada, hello girls, why aren't you in bed? Akino, because it's not the same if you're not Issei. Issei, I'm sorry that it's just that I have things to think about. Rias, things to think about. Issei, yes, about our engagement, everything that has happened in my life or in the 2 months since I left the capsule. Hino, I know there are many things to assimilate, but you have us, you have your mother, your sister. Rias, it's true that if you don't want to accept the marriage, that's fine, that I understand it. Issei, it's not that, it doesn't bother me that we get married, it's just that I was caught off guard and I didn't know how to react. I don't mind marrying you. Rias, I see that then. Issei, if I agree to marry you Rias, well if you want. Rias, yes I accept Issei. Rias would approach Issei's face, embracing him on the lips, sealing what Ria feels for him, although Akino was not far behind as she separated Issei from Rias, turning him towards her, also embracing him. Akino, I told you I wouldn't be left behind Rias. Rias, Akino. Don't embrace my husband. Zenobia, hey, I want to. Zenobia would also embrace Issei but being followed by Ryanair and Kuroka who returned to her real form, and the other two why had they woken up? Rias, you can't embrace my husband yet. Akino, they are not married yet so I can embrace him, after all I will also marry he is my kohai. Rias, they're lucky I let him have HRM. Issei, HRM? What is that? Akino, well, a HRM is when you have many women after you and they want to have something from you, like attention, love or having a family with you but like many they don't share the man they love so that's why each girl shares him. Issei, oh I understand well that I think this way I will prevent the others from getting angry or sad. Rias, yes then we must see when we will get married Issei. Issei, well, your father said that we would go on vacation to your home, so. How about we get married there? Rias, I like it, it's a good idea Issei. Well, let's go to sleep okay? Bye. All the girls would drag Issei to the bed where Rias and Akino lay on Issei's sides, Kuroka on top of him, Zenobia on one side of Issei's hips as well as Ryanair. School morning. Everyone went to the Kuo Academy where the rumor of Issei getting engaged to Rias was unexpected, although many thought it was a lie. Many asked Rias if what she said was true. Many people, plus the men, were dying of envy because of what happened to Issei, although they couldn't do anything, it was Rias's decision and if she wanted to marry Issei, then they wouldn't say anything. Already in class, the parents had also come since the students would sing to start the vacation, many were happy, others not so much or even wanting to participate. The singing thing caught Issei's attention and he wanted to try. Teacher, well, guys, as you know, we will have a music battle at the academy. This will be in 1 week so you can choose the songs or those who want to make their own songs can do so. Issei, this will be interesting. Teacher, well that will be all for today we will see you with your songs in a week. All the students were excited by the news and Issei was intrigued whether to do it or not. Anyway there was a lot of talk about him because of his engagement to the prettiest girl in the entire Rias Grammar Academy. Issei would leave the room seeing his friends who were talking about it but none of them would participate, everyone would see Issei thoughtful. Rias, you're fine as it. Issei, yeah I'm fine. Akino, Era it's not that you want to do the singing thing Issei, well it sounds interesting and the truth is I do want to participate. Kiba, that would be great Issei-kun I know you can win. Mom, yes I think so too brother. Kaneko, senpai will finish everyone. Isha, you listen to Issei-sen sing. Zenobia, the truth is that I am interested in knowing how you sing Issei. Issei, then I will see what song he will sing although I have never sung it but I have nothing to lose by trying. 1 week later, afternoon academy. In the room were all the students from Issei's class where Asia, Zenobia and Ryanair were. Teacher, well guys, who are you going to sing? Very few raised their hands. Of those few Issei amazed the majority except the girls who knew that Issei was going to sing. Teacher, what? Issei and most of us are going to the patio to start. Many students from other classes passed almost very few amazed the audience but most of the students expected that he will sing Issei until the step causing most of the girls to shout his name. Teachers, Issei starts. Issei, well, the song I will sing is one that I made thinking about what I have experienced so far while at the academy. The song is called Superhero, it is by Simon Curtis. Look for it on YouTube since I can't put it here. Issei, stand up, everybody look alive. Say come on, we're gonna get it now. Hands up if you're ready for a fight. Say come on, we're gonna win it now. I don't need you to believe in me. I know how to change my destiny. Sit down but to rewrite our history. Rewrite our history, rewrite our history. We can change the whole world, gonna take it over. Gonna start it over, don't you know what we could be? A new beginning, fighting till we're winning. Tell me that you're in it, don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Anybody could be. Anybody could be. Anybody could be. Rip it off, show the symbol on your city. Say come on and show the world who you really are. It's not enough to be better than the rest. Gotta take it to the top and make yourself a superstar. You don't need them to believe in you. Get your mission on lock and see it through. You've got all the power you need in you. Power you need in you, power you need in. Can change the whole world, gonna take it over. Gonna start it over, don't you know what we could be? A new beginning, fighting till we're winning. Tell me that you're in it, don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Anybody could be. We can change the whole world, gonna take it over. Gonna start it over, don't you know what we could be? A new beginning, fighting till we're winning. Tell me that you're in it, don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Anybody could be. We can change the whole world, gonna take it over. Gonna start it over, don't you know what we could be? A new beginning, fighting till we're winning. Tell me that you're in it, don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Don't you wanna be? A superhero, a superhero, a superhero. Anybody could be. A hero. Everyone was surprised because Issei sang too well and they shouted Issei's name because he had won and everyone knew it. Everyone was silent when Issei took the microphone. Issei, I want to make an announcement. Each student knew what Issei would say, or most of them knew since they all thought that rumor was false. Issei, I am engaged to Rias Grammary and I want to tell everyone that I hope to see you at our wedding that would be after the holidays. Issei said that after the vacation, since they would really get married in hell in a month and the vacation would be in 5 months. In the distance, Valerie saw everything, surprised by what Issei said, but that wouldn't make her give up. She would have Issei for herself and they would have children. She just wanted to wait until Issei would agree to have children with them. Valerie, no matter how long it takes, I will have children with you, Issei, and we will be a happy family. A month has passed. Starting the holidays, the entire Grammary group along with Kuroka, Irina and Esteth had also come. The group had been taken to the underworld again, being taken by Graphia in a vehicle to get to the underworld instead of a magic circle. They had arrived at the entrance to Rias's house where Zoeticus stood at the door next to a young woman with brown hair and a body compared to Rias's. Issei looked thoughtful as it seemed familiar to him. Rias, Issei, why do you stare at my mother a lot? Issei was amazed along with Asia, Kuroka, Zenobia and Irina since she looked very young. Issei, it's your mother that I thought she was your sister. Zoeticus, I want to introduce you to Venelana, my wife and mother of Rias and Serzex. Asia, a pleasure. Irina, it's a pleasure. Zenobia, it's a pleasure. Venelana, don't be so formal fufu. Is death how long? Yes, it's been years, Vainchan. Both women hugged each other lovingly, but Esteth realized something, grabbing the brunette's BRSS, making her a little. Steph, now that I see, your BRSS grew more in these years that we did not see each other. Venelana, Esteth, stopped at there's my husband and my daughter. Kya. Everyone saw this and a mommy covered Issei's eyes, who had blushed a lot because of what his mother was doing with what would be his future sister-in-law. Esteth had stopped grabbing Venelana's beer since she had been stopped by a mommy who had a small blush on her cheeks while her other hand covered her younger brother's eyes. Venelana, well, to all this. Who is he? Pointing at Issei. Rias, oh yes, he is Issei and he is my fiancé. Venelana, Riser wasn't your fiancé. Kino, what happened is that Issei saved Rias from Riser. Venelana, but why Rias? Riser was a good fiancé. Rias, no he wasn't, he was just someone disgusting. Maybe you wanted your daughter to be in a loveless marriage and suffer for my entire life, but thanks to that I was able to meet Issei, the man I truly love. And who do I plan to marry? Venelana turned to see the young black-haired man who had his gaze lost in the sky. Vanelania felt a power inside Issei, one that she knew smiling. Venelana, well if that's what you want, my girl is fine. You have my contribution to take you out with us and Issei, I can talk to you for a moment. Issei did what Vanelania asked, going a little far away where Rias and the rest were. Venelana, tell me Issei, you have the 2 twin swords that the first King Demino and the biblical god used. Issei, I think so. When I used his power, that same power worked on me and I heard a voice that told me that something bad was going to happen. Venelana, I understand. Fufu, now that I think about it, the council members are going to have a heart attack. Also because your new power is, so to speak, the successor of the Demon King and the biblical god Issei. Issei, I'm still new to this whole supernatural thing, so I don't know how to react. Venelana, don't worry about that. I can teach you just like Rias, since they will soon be husband and wife. Fufu. Issei would turn red because of what Rias's mother said, and if she was right, he and Rias would soon be married, although he had the idea that he would also marry the other girls so that they wouldn't be sad. Venelana, well, it would be better for us to live if not for the rest to worry. Yes, it's fine. Ambies had arrived with the rest, Issei being hugged by Rias from behind since he was shorter than her, and Venelana being with her husband and his death, who watched all of Rias's interaction with Issei, as if they were already a married couple. Zoeticus, well, I think it's time for us to train. The maids will show you their rooms, Issei and Rias will share their room. Venelana, don't you think it's still too early? Zoeticus trembled at his wife's tone and thought about it and whether it was still too early for Issei and Rias to share a bed, although they did not know that they already shared a bed before arriving and with all the girls. The maids arrived, taking everyone to their room. Isdeath asked that she stay with Amami. Kuroka would stay with Issei since Kaneko did not know that her sister was there, and since Zoeticus and Venelana did not notice the presence of the Nikomata well better. Issei's room. Kuroka, hey Ise, what do you think about having kittens now? Kuroka, not yet please. You know that I want to marry Rias. If she agrees we will do it and I will give you all the kittens you want. Issei whispered in Kuroka's ear, making her tremble because of Issei's words. Kuroka blushed a lot when she thought about being with Issei and having his children, although they knew that there were other girls who want the same thing. It had already happened in hell. Everyone had gone to sleep, although it was difficult for Issei since the bed was very big. Issei heard footsteps outside his house. In fact, that many steps, opening the door, seeing Rias, Aquino, Zenobia, Rainier and Irina, who had their pajamas, watching Issei. Issei, what's up girls? Rias, we can stay with you, but not sleeping with you is not the same. Aquino, if I don't feel good if I don't sleep with you. Zenobia, I say that too. Irina, Zenobia told me that sleeping with you it feels good and relaxing. Rainier, I don't plan to stay behind. Kuroka, wow, it looks like we will sleep as usual. Issei just smiled, letting the girls lie down with him, Rias and Aquino on his sides, Kuroka on top of him, Zenobia and Irina on his legs, and Rainier on the part of Issei's head, leaving her Bearthus on Issei's head. What she didn't know was that they were seen by Venelana, who was smiling when she saw her daughter so attached to someone for the first time, and even more so with the other girls, thinking that now the family was bigger and she liked this. Venelana, Fufu, it seems that Rias is very in love with it, although she asked me if the rest will feel the same. Before leaving, Venelana heard how everyone, in the middle of their dreams, said, I love you Issei, making a small smile. Venelana, Fufu seems so. I hope and Rias also lets them be part of that, although knowing her I know that she will let Issei have his HR. Each one slept very peacefully, just like Issei. In Isdeath and Amami's room they still did not sleep. Fourth Isdeath/Amami. Isdeath, daughter, what do you think about your brother getting married? Well, he sure is my little brother. He is my driving force to move. He is the last thing I have left of my family before being this. Isdeath, Amami, don't worry. You know that now I am your mother, maybe not by BLD, but I have been there with you since you were children. I have seen you grow up, and I didn't think the day would come when I would see one of you get married. To you they make me the happiest woman and mother in the world. Me and your father are happy. Amami, thank you Mom for not leaving us in that place. Don't worry, I'll always be there for you too. Both would hug each other and fall asleep. For tomorrow Issei and Rias's wedding would begin to be planned. Everyone had woken up except Issei and company, since they were still asleep with a smile on their face. Until Venelana and Isdeath entered and they picked them up, and with no other options they had to get up more girls who didn't want to leave Issei. Kuroka, who returned to her cat form so that Kaneko wouldn't see her, although when she saw her she felt something familiar about her. Venelana, well now we will prepare for your wedding guys, but first we will have to go to the council since they will be surprised by something. And boy will they be surprised by Issei Fufu. Rias, okay, Issei, see you later. Let's go girls. The girls would say less about Kuroka since she would stay with Issei. One day had passed since Issei and Rias's wedding, saying that they were happy, although the other girls were waiting their turn to marry Issei, even though the council had other ideas since they wanted to make Issei have children to generate more strong demons. Surzex had his doubts about the council, as did Zoeticus and Venelana, since they had in mind that Issei would marry the rest of the Gremmery entourage girls and would prevent the council from trying an arranged engagement like they tried with Rias. Throughout the day he had told Kaneko about his sister Kuroka, although she already knew it since it was not normal for the cat that Issei found to have two tails. That was something funny for everyone and something embarrassing for Issei and Kuroka. Now they were in front of the Council of Demons, feeling the heavy air since the whole place was so tense. More Issei since he still did not know that he could put an end to the council, but he had his wife Rias by his side, and Aquino was also next to him. Asia, Zenobia, Irina, Rainier and Kaneko were also Isteth his mother and Amami his sister. Surzex was also with his wife Graphia. There were also Zoeticus and Venelana being serious as they imagined what those council demons would say, although they were waiting for the council to speak first. Advice: well, since everyone is gathered, we will talk about something we were talking about. Tip 3, we will talk about Issei. Tip 2, we will engage Issei with more clan heirs to spawn demons, he being the incarnation of the first Demino King Hihi. Tip 4, that is why we will choose the wives who will have to have children with him. Surzex, I'm sorry but me and my parents talked about it and we chose their wives. Advice, it is but we. Zoeticus, my son already said, we already chose his wives. Venelana, they will be. Kino. Zenobia. Irina. From Cone. Kuroka. Valerie. Bishop. The aforementioned were excited by that, but the council seemed not happy with the decision and tried to negotiate to put some demons under their command. Advice, we will put one more but we choose her. Surzex, we already thought about that, and Issei will choose his last wife, and like the Mao the decision has already been made. The council wanted to reply but they couldn't. The Mao's order was absolute and they accepted Surzex's decision. The girls would hug Issei as much as possible. They were happy, although they should find another fiancé, although they would see that later. For now they are happy. Elsewhere/Asgard. The home of the gods Asgard, where the god Odin rules, along with some women in armor who were on one of their knees with one arm on the ground. They followed Odin's orders. Odin was thoughtful since an energy manifested a few months ago. The energy I feel in hell was something unusual, he said to his Valkyries, who also felt the increase in power, but just as it appeared it was gone. One of the Valkyries was nervous about the power she felt but did not want to let her nervousness be seen until Odin realized. Te succeed algo mi querida Valkyria. Valkyrie, and it's nothing Odin-sama, it's just that energy was too much and came from the hell of Surzex-sama's kingdom. I know, I want to know where that power came from, but we must wait soon for a meeting for peace between the three factions. I will go to see how it goes since we need that peace. I will go with Rosweiss. The aforementioned was excited since not long ago hell did not break out. Rosweiss, I will gladly go. Odin-sama. Odin, well, the meeting will be in 1 month according to what they say. A demon of almost with the sister of the brat Surzex. I want to see what the husband who won Rias's heart is like. Odin had memories of how Rias refused to marry, but now it seems that she married someone she truly loves, although he also had memories of a girl Rias who followed Surzex all the time when he was a teenager. Odin, it seems that Rias's husband will be someone interesting, don't you think so? Rosweiss, I think so. Odin-sama. Odin only smiled with some irony since he expects Rias's husband to be someone he trusts, and I was able to confide in his Valkyrie about Rosweiss, although he knew that she never had a partner, and with that he always bothered her even if it was only joke. Odin wanted Rosweiss to find someone to love. Odin always saw Rosweiss as his daughter. He knew that Rosweiss was helpful to him. He also hoped that at the meeting she would find someone she would like, and the thought came to him that that person could be Rias's husband, since being demons could be Rias will let him have a H.A. The underworld. The entire Gremmery entourage left the council office along with Isteth, Surzex, Zoeticus and Venelana, satisfied with what they said. Now the only problem is that where would they find another wife? although they did not have time since in a month there would be the meeting and they would return. The academy in that month. Rias, everything turned out well after all. I was able to marry a... Rias hugged Issei. Rias, we also prevented you from getting engaged to someone else. Issei, I know and thank you girls for accepting this. Akino, era no ahei that Ayase-kun can now also marry my kohai fufu. Kuroka, now I can have kittens with Zenobia/Irina, we will be mothers first. Rainer, wow, it seems like everything got out of control. Valerie, yes. Hihi. Surzex, Graphia, Zoeticus. Wife Venelana, Isteth laughed at how they behaved, but that was to be expected. The girls who chose to be Issei's wives love him, so it was to be expected. Now everyone was in their rooms, Amami and Isteth in their rooms, Surzex doing his Mao duties, Zoeticus and Venelana had retired, Issei and now his wife Rias were in their room with the other girls since Rias was not going to leave them. Sideways and less now. Issei was lying next to Rias and the rest of the girls who hugged Issei with a lot of love since now they could also get married, only they had to find another wife to be able to do it, but they would see it after Issei and Rias will get married again. In the human world, since Issei had told everyone that it would be after the vacation month. Note, I know it seems like your vacation was short, but let's say that in that time, which I think is 3 months, it was all about the wedding the last week to be exact, and the other 2 months were about seeing hell. The DXD group had already arrived to the human world, being taken by Graphia who said goodbye, leaving them at Issei's house. Now they only had to wait tomorrow to have the second wedding until everyone saw that what they said was not a lie. Only there was a surprise before, and that is that the house where Isteth, Issei and Amami lived was no longer there. In its place was a 4-story mansion, a huge house. Neither Isteth nor her children knew what happened. Stiff, what happened to my house? Rias Onisama said that this would be the wedding gift. Issei, don't you think I exaggerate something? I say a lot. Amami, now how do I explain it to the rest of us? Kiba, according to Zoetica-sama, he said that now where will we also live since there are many rooms there also because Issei-kun will have the rest of his wives living with him. Akino, era, how thoughtful, I want to see everything, let's go in. Akino would take Issei's hand and run inside, followed by the rest behind them. Upon entering, if the house is huge on the outside, it is much more so on the inside since the living room is the size of a huge room, not to mention the television. The kitchen was also huge, as was the bathroom, the rest of the rooms, although there would be 5 rooms. They were also huge, plus Issei's room since there is a bed that can fit more than 10 people. Say, I guess this will be our room. Rias, yes, I suppose so, dear. After the wedding in hell, Rias started calling Issei honey. He didn't mind, but at first that made the rest of the girls jealous before also getting engaged to Issei. Kino, era, what a big bed, Fufu, what are you saying, Issei? Let's move it. Akino was liking her lips, looking lustfully at Issei, but was stopped by Rias. Although Issei and Rias had already had SXL relations and although the BRH rate of the Deminos was very low, there was still hope that Ryasan would become PRDNT. When the girls found out about this, they were jealous since they wanted to do it with Issei and be the first, but it wasn't possible, although Akino always stood up to Issei so they could do it, but she was always stopped by Rias, since none of the girls from married Issei, and if Izzy married it would be like cheating, although that didn't matter to the girls. Rias did because she was now a wife. Kuo Academy /day. Now that Issei and the rest of the Gremory entourage had arrived at the chain at the entrance, it was obviously that Kiba and Issei caught the attention of the girls, but the girls were also jealous since Issei saw Rias Gremory holding hands even though she had her arm hugged. From her now husband. Girl 1, Issei and Kiba are so cute even though Issei already got married. Girl 2, yes, although they look happy, but what envy. Girl 3, yes. Wait, if the wedding wouldn't be this month. The girls were happy since before the holidays Issei told them that he hopes to see them there, which meant that they are invited, although that thought went away since they saw 2 girls with Issei at his side. He had white hair, somewhat gray with the report of the girls, and the other had orange hair, being Irina Shido and Valerie Lucifer. Girl 2, who will she be? Girl, I don't know, maybe a new. The girls were curious about the new student, but the boys had other ideas in mind. Boy, hey, that girl is pretty, don't you think? Boy do, I know now that fool Issei is going to marry Rias. We can have all the girls at school. Issei had heard what they had said, and in a loud voice he said, Issei, even if I get married, that doesn't mean I will stop taking care of the rest of the girls. If some fool wants to overdo it with one of the girls at the academy, I will kill them, understood? Those words made the girls' heart race and the DXD group smile. Kino, Issei is safe taking care of the rest Fufu. Amami, I know Oni-chan has always been like himself, always taking care of the rest. Zenobia, I like that, with Issei you could always trust. Irina, Amami is right, he will never change, he will just take care of the rest, that's why I love him. We love it. The Gremory group was heading to the old building where Sona Citri was waiting for them. She and Ria had to attend to some business, but first Sona had a message from Surzex. Sona, Rias, I have a message from your brother. Rias, from Onisama, what does he say? Sona, Rias, it's time to take your afil out, that's all, but do you think it's safe? Another afil he refers to. Kino, Rias has another afil, but this one was sealed thanks to the sacred gear being very powerful and unstable. Zenobia, then it must be very strong. Rias, it is, it's just that he doesn't control his power well since his power is very emotional. Rias would take everyone to a remote part of the old building where there was a huge door with a seal on the handle. Rias would remove the seal by opening the door and hearing mms from what seemed to be that of a girl. No, the outside is terrifying. When the door opened completely, I revealed a girl about Kaniko's age, a little older, with pale golden hair and red eyes, but very calm. Issei, a girl Den-O Raza detected, vampire/generated man-weight vampire, those really exist. Wait man. Akino, his name is Gasper, and as you said he is a boy, but he likes to dress like that. Gasper, don't leave me out here, it's scary. Amami, what's wrong? Rias, it is because of his power that he is afraid of harming people. Sona, there is no time for this. Rias, could you leave someone to take care of him? Rias, it's okay, honey, you can take care of his problem. Don't worry, I'll take care of it, although I don't know how, but help me. Zenobia, I'll help you. They would go to Kaniko, I will also help. I am too. Kuroka, I will also help Naya. Rias, well, I leave it in your care. Kiba, Akino and Amami went with Rias to see what Sona and Issei want, and the rest stayed to help Gasper's problem. Issei, well, any idea how we'll do this? Zenobia, I have an idea. 5 minutes later. Gasper was seen running from Zenobia with his Excalibur in his hand chasing the vampire, which is why his idea was to relive that moment where humans married vampires, although it didn't work. Issei, I don't think Zenobia will work. Zenobia, I'm having fun. They would go, if I don't believe your definition of fun it is. Terrifying. Now it was Kaniko's turn. The idea she had was to make him fight something that also failed, but not until Zenobia had another idea was to put a paper bag on him. Even though she wanted to put a condom on his face, but Irina didn't. I left and for the bag that won something that worked, and that was better. Gasper could have been there, but it was better for Kaniko to stay with Gasper so as not to be at the meeting. The meeting would be in the old definition of the academy at night to prevent others from seeing demons. Already in the room were the leader of the factions, Azazel the leader of the fallen ox, Michael the leader of the angels and Surzex the leader of the demonos, and Odin the god of Asgard with one of his valkyries at his side who looked at him. Issei curious since she had never seen him. Odin had noticed how Rosweiss looked at Issei with curiosity, although he saw how Rias looked at her, somewhat hiding Rosweiss, but she, being somewhat clueless, did not notice how Rias looked at her. Surzex, let's start this meeting for the peace of the three factions and Odin-sama will accompany us. Azazel, for me peace is the best option. Michael, I think the same. Odin, well before starting or accepting peace I have a question Surzex, and what would be the question Odin-sama? 2 months ago in the kingdom of Asgard a huge increase in power was felt coming from your kingdom Surzex. I want to know who that power belongs to. Surzex, that power belongs to my sister's husband. Issei, can you come forward? Issei complied, coming to the front, standing next to Surzex, surprising Odin since in simple words he was just a teenager. Rosweiss had been looking at Issei for some time, being somewhat blushing because of the seriousness that Issei had without knowing that Issei was nervous. For being in front of Odin. Wow, I didn't think this was little Rias's husband. It looks like I like a good guy more than that brat Riser. Rosweiss, if you keep looking at the young Issei, he'll look at you like crazy. Rosweiss, Onma, don't say that, it always bothers me. Rias, true, who is she? Odin, she is Rosweiss, is one of the Valkyries of Asgard and is like my daughter. It's a pleasure, Miss Rosweiss. Rosweiss, the taste is mi Issei. Odin looks like someone he considers his daughter. He gets nervous with the first boy he meets, although he is not of his age because Rosweiss is 20 and Issei is 17, his birthday when he was in hell. Odin, hey brat Surzek, I have a proposal for you. Surzex, I think I know what your proposal will be. Tell Issei salt with Rosweiss. Rosweiss had listened, blushing a lot since it would be the first time she had gone out with a boy. Surzex, it's not a bad idea, Ria, do you agree? Rias, if this way we would be complete, and the truth is I like Rosweiss and you like Issei. Issei, I also like it seems interesting to me, and you Rosjon. Rosweiss, I wouldn't mind going out with you. Before he continued talking, he heard a roar coming from outside where all the time froze, although no one in the room froze thanks to Odin. Issei, that powered or no Gasper. Until the other. Issei ran around the building looking for his vampire friend, but he didn't find him, but he did find Kaneko all hurt on the floor, Issei running towards her trying to wake her up. Issei, Kaneko, are you okay? Kaneko only moved a little, waking up. Kaneko, yes, I'm fine, but they took Gasper. Issei, I felt his energy disappear, I think they left him unconscious to get along better. Growling. Rias along with Akino had arrived with Issei, seeing how Kaneko was hurt. Rias, what happened where Gasper is? Kaneko, they took it Bucho. I'm sorry. Akino, we will find it. Akino saw how 3 Migos appeared, covered by a raincoat, but you could see how serious they were. Wizard, let's finish. The other 2 magicians agreed to what their leader told them, launching a fireball from their hands towards them, but Issei using his twin swords would deflect it. Wizard, it can't be. Ag. The magician did not see how Issei quickly attacked him, kicking him in the stomach, crashing him against the wall. In the distance, the rest of Rias's entourage, Zenobia, Asia, Rainier, Kuroka, Kiba, Amami were seen watching as Issei finished off the magicians, where Rias turned to see them. Rias, we must prepare for a battle. But they all said to get ready. Kiba took out his sword ready to fight, Kuroka and Kaneko stood on guard, Amami took out his spear. Zenobia summoning her armor along with her sword Excalibur, who gave off enormous power, shooting lightning around her with great intensity. Imagine it's Zenobia with the armor. Issei put away his 2 swords, he held out Excalibur Morgan in his hand ready to finish off his enemies, just as he made his clothes that he uses to fight appear, deflecting several projectiles launched from outside. Excalibur Morgan deflected every attack they launched. Rias, well, let's go. The group returned to the room, seeing how neither Surzex nor Azazel was looking up, seeing the 2 of them finishing off the invaders that interrupted the meeting. Rosweiss was with Odin protecting him, although he did not need to worry since he was very powerful even though he was an old man. Rosweiss looked in the direction where Issei was, blushing at the clothes that Issei was wearing. Issei jumped to the roof next to Zenobia, looking at the large number of enemies in front of them. Irina was with Michael, neither of them knowing what they would do. See, you're on the list. Zenobia, come on, I'll be your wife, of course I'm ready. Issei smiled. Both of them positioned themselves, Issei having Excalibur Morgan below him and Zenobia above his head. The Excalibur began to shine with red and black energy and a golden yellow. Issei, Excalibur Morgan. Zenobia, Excalibur. Both attacks went to the large wave of enemies that are outside, eliminating them instantly, but with 2 people left there are. One was the successor of Leviathan, who did not accept any other Mao wanting to kill them so that she could take the place as Mao. I just don't expect that just the 2 of them, Issei and Zenobia, will finish everyone off very easily. Michael, who saw all this, was amazed. He had not seen that spectacle of power in a long time. And Irina was amazed by the strength of her friend and fiancé, smiling very affectionately like Issei, who came down next to Zenobia. Rias, Honey, it's time to go out, I think something is waiting for us outside. Issei. Rias's tone was very serious. If something was making her like that, it must be something bad. I really don't know what things can upset Rias, but I didn't have time to worry about that. I had to go out and see if everything was okay and clear. When we left, we saw 3 magicians who had Gasper's hands tied, and outside the academy I tried to help him, but Rias stopped me. I must calm down and see the opportunity to save him. I felt something in my system as Kuroka came out in her cat form. Wait? When I came in there, it doesn't matter now. I saw how she got on her head and whispered to me. Kuroka, I'm in charge. I have to help my fiancé's friend no Naya. I could only smile. We came, Kuroka got out, full. There were the wizards who did not understand why a cat was approaching them, until that defenseless cat turned into a girl, kicking the 3 wizards in the face, saving Gasper. What a relief. Although as soon as Kuroka freed Gasper, I saw how the magicians stood up trying to attack Kuroka. I was not going to allow that. I took out my 2 swords, sending them. Were the 2 magicians who stood up, although one appreciates being dead, that I think Kuroka broke his neck. Fin del POV.Issei/narrator. The swords went towards the heads of the 2 friends, hitting them squarely and killing them instantly. Kuroka saw Issei with a smile on her cheeks and hearts in her eyes. Seeing how her loved one saved her made her fall even more in love than she expected. That was already. She returned to Gasper only to see how a woman with somewhat tan skin, brown hair and somewhat extravagant clothes appeared. Issei and the rest saw this without knowing who she was, but Surzex and Azazel did know who she was. Issei, who is she? Surzex, she is the successor of the ancient Mao Leviathan. She does not accept that anyone else rules hell but her. Azazel, we thought she was dead, but it seems not. And now she is stronger. Surzex, the woman's name is Kateria, and as Azazel said, she is the successor of the ancient Mao Leviathan. Kateria, nos volvimos a ver Azazel Gij. Azazel, yes, how much you have grown, but I see that you are still the same brat as always. Hey, Surzex, you don't mind if I take care of her? Surzex, I moved forward. Azazel smiled, activating his balance bracket, surprising everyone present. Although Azazel explained to them that it was an artificial sacred gear, Azazel looked at Kateria, who began to emanate her aura just as Azazel emanated his. Azazel, do you want to continue with this, or you will give up quietly? Kateria, you think I'm going to give up easily? I won't do it until I'm the Mao. Surzex, you are still being Mao. You know at least what it means to be one. Kateria, being a Mao gives everyone control. They do what I want when I want, and you won't stop me from being one. You are not worthy of being one. Surzex, not being a Mao is seeing the best for everyone for your race. It is being able to move forward and learn from the past and improve. That is what I do as a Mao, and I will continue to do it. Kateria and Azazel sent each other clashing weapons. Azazel used a golden trident and Kateria used her magic against Azazel. Both were on the same level, but Kateria not using her strength, but her magic gave Azazel some complications. But for him this was a somewhat exciting challenge. Surzex, who saw this only with his head, Kateria was already gone and there was nothing that would make him change. Both continued attacking each other without twisting. Azazel used his spear against the successor of Leviathan. Surzex wanted to intervene, but for some reason he felt that something bad would happen. In another place. In a nearby forest near the academy, a figure of a man with white hair was seen next to another man with short black hair with a cane in his hands on top of a tree. Biko, Gij, it seems that Kuroka is Ahei or not valid. Valid, I don't know what that silly cat thinks, but we will bring her back. Biko, and your sister seems to be also with that boy with that strange sword. Valid, according to my sister, she said his name was Issei, but that's all she said, but it doesn't matter, he's no match for me, you can take care of him. Biko, I don't think so, you've seen the power he has, you think I can handle him, and you were stronger than me, so no. Vela, well, whatever you want, I'll take care of him, you can go against Kuroka if he resists. Biko, hihi, it will be fun, I hope she has improved. They both jumped from the tree heading towards where Azazel and Kateria's hair was. They continued attacking each other without twisting. Azazel with his spear attacked Kateria, who, due to carelessness, received an attack from the spear of the leader of the fallen angels. Falling to the ground, dead, she doesn't wait. That spear had that power. Kateria, That spear caused me a lot of damage. What kind of sacred gear is that? And I have never seen one like that. Azazel, Redneat, you know you can't win. Azazel had been attacked by a blow to the back from Valet, who took advantage of the fact that he was distracted. Azazel would fall to the ground somewhat injured but not that bad. Azazel, so you are with them, Valet. Why? Valet, I don't have to answer you, I'll just tell you that we are with Ophis. Both Azazel and Serzex were surprised by the name, as was the rest. Issei, a mommy, a god. Issei, it's strange, I feel like I've already heard that name. Mom? Yes, me too, but I don't know where it looks so familiar to me. Rias, what do you mean? Issei, we don't know, I just feel like I've already heard about her. Serzex, that would be impossible. Azazel, why did I appear now? Above them was an adult woman, with somewhat strange clothing since the Issei section was uncovered and only covered by some labels in the NPL section, her long black hair with a headband on her head, her gray eyes and a black dress like that of a Gothic. She looked at everyone as if she were looking for someone, looking at each one, fixing her gaze on Issei and a mommy. Issei and a mommy appeared in front of them. They were amazed by her speed. Azazel tried to go for Serzex and stopped him. Rias looked at her husband and sister-in-law with fear, since she did not know what Ophis would do to the two of them. Like the rest, they could not do anything. They only hoped that she would not do something to them, but they would be surprised by her action. Ophis would stretch her hands towards the brothers. They closed their eyes waiting for the but they felt a caress on their cheeks, seeing how she caressed them with a small smile and her calm eyes. She stretched out her arms, hugging Issei and a mommy who no longer knew what was happening, just like the rest did not know why Ophis was hugging the two brothers. Valet, who saw this, knew the reason, except her sister, who did not know since she was not part of Cow's brigade. Ophis, my children. My children. Issei, I think I'm already confused what's happening. Why do you tell us that we are your children? Mommy, our mother had died when we were children. Maybe it's better for her to tell them. Issei still looked at a white-haired boy who looked like someone Issei knows. Issei, you look like Valerie. She is my younger sister. I don't understand what she sees in you. Issei, well, we had a date when she requested my demon services. Issei told him how he met Valerie, but he was still being hugged by Ophis, but his cheeks were puffed out since Issei was not paying attention to him. Ophis, asmi caso Issei. Issei, sorry. Wait, why I apologize. For ignoring your mother. Say, love me. Issei/love me mothery. Issei, like mother. That can't be true. Our mother died 10 years ago. We were 6 when that happened. What died was my human body with my consciousness. I will tell you everything. Ophis. A long time ago I asked myself why humans are happy. I always thought it was because of their ignorance. Their lives are short. They live wars, diseases, hunger, massacres. Whenever I saw it was the same happy smiles. I always saw humans as they are happy, and I wanted to know why. I asked my almost brother, the Great Red, for help. The answer he gave me is that we are dragons and gods, so it didn't matter how we live our lives. At first I swallowed that answer, but as I continued seeing how happy humans were, I realized what I was missing was a family. I left my body in the dimensional gap and sent my consciousness to the human world, where I obtained a physical body. At that moment I forgot who I was and why I came here. I studied, I worked, I married a good man, or that's what I would like to call a good man. When I found out what he did to you, I was filled with anger, but I wanted to see how you would live your lives. When you were born, I was the happiest woman. I was appealing. I raised them until they were 6 years old. That was where it all began. Apparently some fallen angels knew I was in the human world with a human body. They thought that if I killed my human body they would kill me, but what they did is that my consciousness returned to my original body. Not everything was sad. 4 years later passed as if nothing had happened in the blink of an eye. I remembered everything I experienced in the human world. I saw you two grow up, but not in the way I wanted. Your father, or before, I saw as an experiment with you. I wanted to go and get you out of there, but Rojo wouldn't let me since those were human problems. I resigned myself to seeing them through the gap. That's where I sent him some gifts, the spear that Amami uses, and the twin swords that he uses. I was even more surprised to know how Issei's body reacted to feeling me. His brown hair became black like mine. that meant that Issei is my son just like a mommy, only hers became blue. Issei, that's why my hair changed. Office, yes it is because of that, but it is also because they have my BLD, but it seems that it is more Issei who has more of my BLD, that would also be a reason for your hair. I told Issei more about how the swords also reacted to him, embedding themselves in Issei as their new wielder. I'm also happy to meet my daughter-in-law who is Rias Gremory. Office, hello Rias, thank you for taking care of my son. Lufs, no ahei of that Office-ama. Office, don't worry, just tell him Office as well as the rest. I felt as if something was clinging to me, seeing how it was Issei and a mommy who hugged me tightly. Of course I accepted the hug with pleasure. Fin POV Office. Issei/Amami, Okasan. Okasan. Office, yes, I am your mother and I will never leave you alone again, my little dragons. Issei, along with the group of Rias and Office, had arrived at Issei's house, which was now a DM luxury house. With 4 floors and the house being too wide to live in, there are more than 20 people. Issei, what happened to my house? Rias, it was Oni-sama's thing. Since we are married, he wanted us to have a place to rest better, and this was the result. Amami, and Mom agrees with this. Pointing to the huge house in front of them. I agree. Issei, we were referring to our other mother. Before Issei continued speaking, the door opened, showing Isteth, who had a huge smile on her face, looking at Issei and Amami, who were greeted by a hug from her. Isteth, it's good that you're fine, demon brats, they want to scare me to kill. Isteth had hit the 2 brothers on the head, but before she continued hitting them she realized how much of Office's presence. Isteth was looking at her many times just like her. Something clicked in Isteth's head. Sithana. Office, how long Isteth Sanjiji? Both women hugged each other very happily. Now the group did not understand anything of what was happening, although they were more confused when Isteth pulled Office's ear. Isteth, what have I told you about walking almost naked? Office, I shouldn't use it. Thif, yes like that, come in and change, understood. Office had passed to the house being followed by Isteth, and behind her came the entire Gremory entourage, and seeing everything that had changed, Isteth's house was not only big on the outside but also big inside. Say, I think Surzexama missed something. Akino, Era stop, this is something small fufu. Small. Knitting the Spera. Kuroka had returned to her cat form while being in Issei's head again. Voicing, that's not real. Kaneko, One-chan, it's not fair that you are in Issei-senpai's head. Kuroka, well Issei took care of me thinking I was a kitten, but he doesn't mind or no it doesn't bother me if she is comfortable for my own good. Kuroka, thank you Wethu, you are the best darling I can have. Zenobia, hey, he's also our darling, don't monopolize everything. Kuroka. Rainer, if Zenobia is right, don't monopolize everything. They would go, if I want to, I am your childhood friend, I have more rights. Rainer, I am also his childhood friend. Kino, Era everything is going to get out of control. Rias? Rias, you girls are crushing us. The girls looked at how they had Issei, he was drowning in the girls' biffs. Amami and Kiba saw all this with a drop on their heads. Isteth somewhat amused in Office because common sense does not suit her. Now everyone was in the room, although Office had Issei and Amami in her back, which made them both a bit cool since Issei didn't remember those interactions much and Amami, well, she was red with sadness. Issei, what is happening here? Amami, I don't know degree / degree. Office, many years have passed, and I hardly had the opportunity to meet you. I know you are teenagers now, but I still want to do it. Steph, be calm, I almost always do that with them too. I also saw them grow, although I saw them both in the capsules where they were experimenting with them. Isteth, just remembering how Issei and Amami were in the capsules, only clenched her fists. Office had seen everything in Isteth's memories, everything that her children saw at the hands of their father. Office no longer considered him as the father of her children, and when she saw him she would kill him. Now that I think about it, where is Tatsumi-san? He is with the affairs of Ninth Riad, you know about being a leader, T-Gus who stole. This, Fufu, he was always with you when we met, now he must be stressed about everything. Yes it must be now that I see you didn't change Anna. Office, well. Luckily for Ophis, they had rung the bell saving Ophis. Even though she was a dragon and a goddess, for some reason his death caused him some fear when she got angry. He had gone to open the door, Rias. When he opened the door, he only saw a young woman with black hair somewhat disheveled on her head. She had a wide eye, wearing a short white shirt, bracelets on her hands, blue shorts on her waist. She had a gray sweatshirt tied with tights that reached above her combs and red boots. Rias was even more surprised by her eyes, since instead of pupils they were golden chlorine crosses. "Hello, is this death inside?" Rias, yes, it's inside." Rias would go to the living room, but the woman would enter the house seeing Issei sitting. When she saw her, she was very surprised. Issei and Amami got up seeing the woman, who was standing without saying anything with her eyes wide open and starting to cry. Issei, Amami. Guys. Issei-jin. Amami, Jin. Jinkais. The three of them hugged, causing some doubts to the rest except Issei and Ophis, who already knew who it was. Jin, but how much they have grown. I thought they had. Issei, don't worry, we don't die, it's just that. Dad hides us from everyone since. Issei/Amami turned us into 02. Jin, that's 02. Mommy, we are part of a machine like androids. Issei, apparently he told the people who knew about us that we died that day, like Irina. Jin, that Irina is also here. Jin looked everywhere, seeing a young woman with orange hair who looked at her with tears. Jin, how much has Irina-chan grown? Irina would go to meet Jin, who gladly accepted the hug, crying because when Irina went to Italy, she thought that Jin had distanced himself from everyone due to the death of Issei and Amami. Irina, I thought I would never see you again, but you are here. Jin, I was looking for his death, for old time's sake, but I didn't think I would find my favorite students. Amami, you're only students since you don't want anyone else. Jin, and you're right, since I thought you had died I never wanted to accept another one. I was afraid of losing him just like I lost you. Issei, that doesn't matter, what matters is that now we are together again, also he. Issei looked at Issei challengingly and she understood what Issei meant. You owe me revenge. Jin, don't think that because you're bigger you can beat me, you've lost a lot of times, you can't beat me, don't believe since I believed what happened, I kept training and now I'm stronger, boy. Amami, please not now. Rias, what's wrong, Amami, why don't you want to? It would be fun to see. Not when the two of them fight, they go overboard and destroy everything. Akino, don't worry, we can make a barrier so they can fight at ease. Amami resignedly let them do what they wanted. To her surprise, there was a room for those moments. Thanks Surzex, who put that in if she didn't know where they would be fighting. Issei and Jin looked at each other defiantly. Neither of them looked away from the other on Rias's side, and the rest were a little nervous since what Amami had told them is that Jin is Issei's, Amami's and Irina's teacher, so she wouldn't be an easy opponent to beat. Jin, I want to see how strong you have become. I also want to see how far Amami and Irina have advanced. Issei, I'm not going to lose to you again, you'll see what it is, I'll beat you. Both Lancerian crashing their arms against each other when a current of air that felt strong. If it weren't for the barrier Rias next to Akino Asia Force. Irina, Amami, Issei and Ophis already knew that this would happen, except for the rest of the Gremory entourage. Rias was nervous since I didn't think Jin was too strong to be just a human. Kino, Era Jin-san is strong for a human. Amami, she was always strong, but this is too much, it's like she possesses a Rias, as if it possesses a sacred gear. But it would not be possible unless. Kuroka, Esse Pajiraco de Azazel Ladura Uno Artificial. Rina, that would be a lot, without knowing the consequences it would bring to. Zenobia, if this continues I don't think the barrier will support. Before she continued to worry, she would see how Azazel appeared, reinforcing the barrier. Azazel, it seems like I arrived on time. Rias, why did you give an artificial sacred gear to Jin-san? Azazel, I want to see if they are enough for the humans to defend themselves if I ever see another silly war, although I doubt that will happen. Ophis, I really don't know why you do it, humans would only use it to kill each other, like in their silly wars. Anna is right, I don't think I know that well. Note, Is death calls Office Anna since that's how she knew her before, and she doesn't know what her real name is. Issei and Jean continued connecting goals. Both just smiled at the strength of each other, until Jean began to use his techniques. He stepped back so that a dark blue stam came out of his legs. Jean, the original by Jean Mori Celestial Twin Dragons. 2 blue dragons came out of Jin's leg heading towards Issei, but he would act quickly. Issei, blue twin dragons. Like Jean, 2 somewhat small dragons came out of his legs, but they countered both attacks, disappearing from the place, but generating a cloud of smoke that Issei did not see anything until it was too late when I saw Jean behind him. Don't get distracted, triple tiger standing. Issei received a combo of 3 simultaneous hits without leaving the possibility of defending himself by crashing him against the wall. Rias and the rest of the girls were worried until Issei came out of the rubble with nothing. Issei, it seems that if I am stronger, that blow hurt me but not as much as you used to give them. Issei looked seriously at his teacher. You softened. Jean, and whose fault do you think it is I stopped fighting when I thought they died okay, I had no reason to fight anymore. Issei, and you think I like to see my teacher weak? My teacher is the strongest woman I know, so she fights really strong. Jean, say that thank you, you want me to fight really well, I will. A golden glove with a purple gem in the center would appear on Jin's left hand. Everyone was surprised, even Azazel, since that was his work. Jean, I can't get more power, this is all I can control. Issei, wow, so that's Azazel's thing. This gets more exciting every time. Well, now it's my turn. Issei's clothes would be the same ones he wore when he fought, only now there were small details such as that his jacket now had red circles on the parts of his hands, also that an image of the Excalibur Morgan appeared on Issei's back, too. Issei was wearing a scarf around his neck that seemed familiar to Jean, and he would remember the moment when he gave Issei that scarf. That scarf is... Yes.it is the one you gave me when I was able to do a technique of yours. I have simply saved it and now it symbolizes that I must surpass you and myself. Issei would bring out Excalibur Morgan, unleashing a huge intensity of magic throughout the place, which made Zenovia's Excalibur react, which seemed to resonate with the Excalibur Morgan. Imagine him with the red jacket. Zenovia, wow, it seems that she will go with everything Issei can. Asia, don't you think it's excessive? Irina, no, Jean and Issei were always like this. They fight from the beginning with everything, even more so when seeing how Jean has that artificial sacred gear. Issei decides to go with his best weapon. Jean y Issei. They both looked at each other seriously without saying anything, and they would attack each other again. Issei tried to hit him with the Excalibur Morgan, but Jean defended himself with his glove that could counteract Issei's Excalibur Morgan. In Issei's carelessness, Jean took the Excalibur Morgan from Issei, sending it towards the silo, stabbing it, but Issei was not far behind. Since Jean tried to hit Issei, he would take out the 2 twin swords. In Issei's hands the twin swords appeared. Before, Issei never had to say anything to bring them, but he wanted to give them some emotion when he does. I want to clarify something before starting. This will be the last chapter of this story. It really is difficult for me to make an entire DxD story without using the free novels or the anime. So I have the idea of making another DxD story, but using my ideas. It will be different from what many will think. If that is all, this is the last chapter. The problem is that I don't know if I will continue writing more stories. Now I can't think of much to do. The truth is, if you can help, I would really appreciate it. I want to make a good DxD story. The idea I have is for Issei to be reincarnated in my world of Tensei Sheet era as Rimuru's son, but there would be a magic academy, you know. As typical, here Surzex would not be the Mao but the director of the academy, even though he is a demon but different from what the primordials are. Also, not only would the magical academy exist, if not also the night academy where Kiba and Zenovia would be. It would also be that Issei is not a student from there, but rather as an invocation, different from what a family member is, but things would also be different since he would put the girls one by one. Also that Kiba and Asia are Issei's brothers. That is the idea I have. I don't know what you think of the idea. Here I will look at the other girl's wedding. The wedding will be like this. First it will be Akino. Second Asia. Tercera, from Cone. Fourth Kuroka. Quinta, Zenovia. Friday, Irina. Septima, Rainer. Hava, June. Ninth and last, Rosweiss. This is how it will not be plowed and everything will be avocado in 8 years. Each one will get married after the year plus. I think I will name Issei's children, but I would look for their names for that. Well, now let's start. Cap 15 wedding. After the day, Issei and Rosweiss had returned to the house. Now Rosweiss would stay at Issei's house. The girls did not mind that since in a certain way they all liked Rosweiss even though she was a little insecure about certain topics. Already at the Rosweiss house she spent time with the girls while Esteth was with Office. Issei and Kiba played video games in her room with Gasper who also played. Rias, and how did it go with Issei? Rias was interested in Rosweiss' date with Issei although they would not come to this. Rosweiss, we went to an amusement park. It was fun. I had never had fun in my life. We went to eat human food is delicious. I also got rid of some unbelievers even though I ended up beating them later. Akino Thain is a gentleman. Now I want him to carry me like a princess. Rias, Akino will take me first like this. Akino, Fufufu we will see who wears it first like this Rias. Kuroka, hey don't leave me behind I also want Ise to take me like this Naya. Aria, as your childhood friend I must be the first. Rainer, I am also your childhood friend Iwudrian. Zenobia, I will be the first to have your child. Zenobia Aria blushed at the rest of the girls since they had not thought about that, even though it was not bad to think about being mothers, although they did not deny that they did want to be one, especially if it would be Issei's son. With Esteth and Office. The two women were talking. Esteth told her everything she experienced with Issei and Amami after leaving the church, when she arrived in Kuo on Issei and Amami's first day of school. It should be said that Office was very excited even though she had wanted to take them to school but she couldn't do anything anymore. She couldn't go back for 10 years since she didn't remember her life as a human. It wasn't until she spent 9 years where she remembered everything. I just didn't know where they were now. Office, how lucky you are. You saw Ise-chan and Ami-chan going to school. You saw Ise-chan marry the Gremory girl, although they also have your BLD that also makes you their mother. Steph, but your relatives, maybe not with this body but you are, I'm a little envious of you for being their real mother. You carried them in your womb for 9 months. Office, yes, but I forgot about them for 9 years. I couldn't see them grow from their childhood to their adolescence. I don't know what kind of mother I am, although being a dragon I don't know much about all this and common sense doesn't goes with me. Both women laughed remembering some anecdotes before the incident. When Esteth met Issei and Amami for the first time, they were just babies. The luck of that day was that Issei's father never met Esteth, that's why she was able to be in the laboratory when they returned to Issei and Amami in 02. Office just looked out the window to see if something interesting would happen. Although she doubted it would happen as a dragon, not many interesting things happened. Not until Esteth told him something that made him smile at the crazy idea he had. It was now that they knew the last name of Issei and Amami as the children of Office Ouroboros. That would be when Issei remarried, and Office could do it so that the stupid demons on the council don't try something else with Issei or Amami. Esteth also seemed like a good idea to me. Estethos would be a good plan. Those old men from the council couldn't do anything against Issei, so they will go against my daughter. Office, yes, but that's why the plan is when they know their last names, those geezers won't do anything against Issei or Amami. Esteth, yes that would be the best. With Issei it was easy since the girls love our son, he usually wins each other's hearts and he gets along very well with Zenobia although at first she only wanted Issei's baby, they got along well as they were both Excalibur users. Office, you're right but when they know they don't want to mess with them, not with an Ouroboros and even less when they realize who their mother is. With Issei, Kiba, Gasper and Amami. They were playing video games, although it seemed that Amami had a question for her brother. Amami, hey and what are you doing with the other girl's wedding? He hadn't asked himself that question so he thought of a quick solution. Issei, it would be good to marry them for months. It would really be something strange if I married them on the same day. If Issei-kun is right, it would be something strange even for demons, although it would be a good idea for Issei-kun to get married for months, 1 month with one and the next month with the other. Gasper, win. Haha for distraction. Issei, hey that's not fair. Kiba, rematch and see how you lose. Issei and Kiba challenged to see Gasper again, which caused a small laugh in Amami who saw Kiba with a blush, something that she thought would happen. turning her head when she noticed how her brother had realized. Issei noticed that his sister, since they entered the Gremory entourage, Amami looked at Kiba a lot without him realizing it, and on the contrary Kiba also looked at Amami. You must in-law. Now Issei had an idea of what was happening to them, but it would be better to ask the two so as not to jump to conclusions. Issei, hey Amamine, can we talk in private for a moment? Amami, yes, that's okay. Both brothers left the room, being up on the roof of the house, since there they would not bother them or they would spy on them. Amami, and what did I want to talk about? Issei, sister, you know that I love you very much. No, your happiness is important to me, that's why this question is. Do you like Kiba? When Amami heard that, she blushed a lot, looking away and trying to deny it, but it was too late. Amami, why do you say that? I don't like it. Sister, I won't force you to tell me if you don't want to. Amami was nervous. Her brother has discovered that she liked Kiba, and it would be better if they both told each other the same thing. All that remains is to ask Kiba. Issei, well, that was all I wanted to ask, thank you, sister. Issei came down from the roof, leaving Amami there in his thoughts, and accepted that she liked Kiba, but he had to because of who he is. He will not accept her. Only he remembered that Issei is just like her and he is married to Rias, and then it will be with the other girls. Amami, this is not the time to think that. My brother is married, so I can be with Kiba. With that thought, Amami came down from there and went to the girls for some advice since she was just new to this. Rias saw her coming down and she went to her for a question. Rias, Amami, are you fine? Amami, I want to ask you a question. Tio, era what this is about, Amami-chan. Amami, it's well, it's about love. Asia do. Like someone, Amami-san. Amami, something like that. I like it. Kuroka, te gusta Kibanaya. Amami blushed even though Kuroka had guessed, surprising the rest except Rosweiss, who didn't know who she was. Rias, you like Kiba? Akino, era what a surprise, Fufu. Kaneko, that's good. Zenobia, they knew they made a good couple. Irina, if it's true, they make a good couple. Do they really believe it? Rainer, if we believe it, in fact I have seen that Kiba watches you from time to time. In the fight with Kokabiel he saw you worried when you faced him. If I worry you, it could be that you. All the girls were excited about that, so they had an idea of how to get Amami to confess to her, although Kuroka would go silently to Issei's room. Con Issei, Kiba why Gasper? Issei had arrived at his training room and seeing Kiba and Gasper playing again, both were tied, although they seemed to be very focused on this, which he did not notice when he felt Kuroka hug him from behind. Kuroka, I have something to tell you, something that is very juicy. Say, if it is what I think it is, then yes. Kuroka, so you know that Amami. Say, I know. I do know what happens with her. My mother always. Hee, we just have to see how we're going to get these two to confess. Kuroka, Tengo, you have a new idea for the city. Issei, I don't want to ask, but it would be nice to see. The plan was to make them be alone, and they did it. They locked them up for a week in a cage where they couldn't get out since it was sealed. After the week it worked. Kiba and Amami had talked. In that week Kiba and Amami had become a couple, which it made everyone happy. Also Isteth and Ophis were happy. Now the only thing missing was Issei's marriage with the rest of the girls. Now Akino and Issei's wedding had been in the temple where Akino had grown up. There she had invited all her friends as well as her father Barakwil, who had forgiven. Surzex also came with his wife Graphia, also with Surzex and Rias's parents, Zoeticus and Venelana Gremory. Akino already had her wedding dress on. More girls were excited about how pretty they looked. Issei was already at the altar waiting for who would be his second wife, and many more would come. Issei saw Akino approaching the altar, being skirted by Barakwil, who was confident that his daughter would be happy with Issei. Issei, you look appealing. Akino, era thanks Ise-kun. Akino had a blush on her face because of who would now be her husband. A month had passed since Issei married Akino. Now the next one was Asia. She would be skirted by his death. Issei and Asia would get married where a destroyed church was, and they would get married. Going by another month now, it would be the next one. It would be Kaneko who would marry Issei. They would also get married in Akino's temple. She agreed to do it. She would be carried by her sister Kuroka, who had a smile on her face, although she would be the one next to get married after his sister's wedding. It would be another month where now it would be Kuroka who, if her wedding clothes would be more revealing than the others, although Issei liked it since two were Kuroka's thing. If she wanted to, he would let her. The place of her wedding would be where Issei and Kuroka met. The place was in Hell in the Valley where Issei found Kuroka. She would spend another month in D where a martyrdom for the demons since the church was not comfortable but due to a dictum from Surzex they could be fine in that place. Now it would be Irina's turn for her wedding. They also got married in a church that was close to where Issei and Irina met for the first time, although Issei would be surprised to see that old tree where Irina and Irina met. Now it would be Rainier's turn to get married. The place was the same as Irina's since it was also the place where the three of them met. After playing, Rainier's dress would be different since she didn't like to wear the dress much so she chose a white dress where she felt good although it had a very pronounced neckline. The penultimate one would be Jean. His wedding would be in a normal church where he married Zenobia. Jean was happy to marry his student although some humans did not see it well but they did not care. No ahei photo sorry. Now it would be Rosweiss's wedding with Issei. She was nervous since she never thought she would marry Issei although in 8 months her relationship with Issei was growing as well as with the others. Rosweiss arrived being skirted by her adoptive father Odin. She was nervous since she would marry the boy who loved her dress was different since she wanted to impress who would be her husband. 2 years passed where Issei was happy with his wives and they were also happy. They also confronted Issei's father who continued to do his thing with more experiments, being arrested by the demons and destroying the experiments that he created. Now what Issei was worried about his wives being Prjin and T. Akino was the first to be Prjin and T, followed by Rias, then Asia, then pregnancies. Issei, my life now feels more exciting. Hee I didn't think the girls were Prjin hee I'll be a dad. Issei did not notice how the girls were behind him. Seeing him with a smile on their face, Issei realized that they were behind him, turning their faces and seeing their wives with a somewhat large 3-month-old belly. The first girls. Rias. Darling, you are very happy, right? Issei, if I'm happy, I'll be a dad hee. Kuroka, we must thank you. For loving us we thank you very much Akino is very sentimental, but it is true we are very happy to be your wives. You are the best husband we can have. Issei and the rest of the girls were on the patio of the house in the afternoon. He looked outside as the sun set. He couldn't be happier in his life. He also learned that his sister was a month Prjin and T. He would also be an uncle and apart from that his mother, Death and Ophis were happy. Tatsumi had returned. He was also happy because of what they told him. The life and adventures of Issei and Amami ended. But now their children would continue to live adventures just as their parents did.